Welcome back, episode 96 of Revisited, and we are at the final recorded Revisited for Mark Month. We still have a live stream on Saturday. There's a poll, well, not necessarily a poll, there's a community post where people are commenting and you upvote the videos you like, and the one with the most votes will be the one we watch on Saturday. We're actually doing one video, but we're cutting in with another video. We're doing the Zack Snyder Era Batman v Superman, Joker, and Justice League. But we're cutting out the Joker part because there's really nothing we want to say there. It's a pretty good movie. I don't
hear Mark talking about symbolism
and themes
and underlying text and society and all this crap. I don't.
Yeah. So we're gonna cut that in with The Dark Knight Rises. Mark reviewing the Christopher Nolan trilogy and Catwoman. This is him reviewing every Batman movie, and he just put them in chunks. The trilogy for Nolan, the Snyder Era, blah, 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 blah. We don't know necessarily when those parts are unless you timestamp them or something. So it's going to be a little finicky for a second. I'm probably just going to cut out the part where I'm finagling both of them. Do we have a description for the Zack Snyder?
Yes. Last month, I've been... Am I stupid? I'm going to look this word up. R-E-I-I-N-G?
R-I-E-E-N-G?
R-E-V-I-I-N-G.
Where are you at? He's meant to spell it reviewing, but he missed some of it.
I'm like, maybe I'm just dumb.
Yeah, no, he missed the W.
Okay, so we've got, first off, last month, not capitalized. Reviewing spelled incorrectly. Every Batman movie, and today I find myself reviewing the Zack Snyder universe. That means Batman vs. Superman, Joker, and of course Justice League. I wasn't a big fan of Batman vs. Superman. I never saw Justice League, so let's hope... Let's see how these films hold up to my modern preferences.
His taste changed, so I guess that's what he means.
Whatever,
indeed.
Whatever.
The Snyder Era was a mistake.
A blight on cinema.
Man of Steel sucked. Batman v Supes sucked.
It would have... Man of Steel would have really helped if Superman was Superman.
And that's the problem. It is I said this recently. It is a 6 out of 10 movie. And a lot of the markdown of it is because it's Superman starring in the movie. Because that is just not a Superman movie. And Bats v Supes, it was such a rush to get to this, it's so epic, they're finally confronting each other, blah, blah, blah thing, without actually cultivating a story that would have them meet up. Like, if there was a Batman movie interspersed between the two, I feel like we could have gotten most of his feelings out.
But then that's where people goes, the 3-hour cut. And that's like, no, that does not help.
That does not.
Because that's a lot of just this courtroom drama of this old black lady and her being blackmailed and crap like that. It's like, no. Most of the stuff between Batman and Superman was in the movie proper. Yeah, it's
Oh, and Zack Snyder's Justice League is nowhere near as good as people think. I feel like a lot of people loved it because it was finally Snyder getting to tell his story. And
that's going to give a lot of goodwill for that.
And I feel like there have been few people that have revisited it, that have gone back 6, 8, 10 months later and gone.
Could you?
I mean, if you're a super Snyder fan, you might have watched it again. You might have watched it like 4 times.
I don't think so.
I have only watched it once in chunks.
It's so long.
It's so very long.
And it's a lot of the stuff that we saw the first time.
And that's part of the problem.
New stuff isn't necessarily all that. Like we keep talking about with the end, with the walking into jail. It's like this could be cut in half and lose nothing.
Yeah, it feels like he left things that would have been on the cutting room floor in the space of my vision, I'm an auteur, as opposed to I can cut this. No, why would I cut it? I shot it and I think it's good.
Comfortably cut it.
Please, thank you. The what? Hand me that, please.
This?
Yeah.
This is mine.
Did you my electrolytes? What are you doing?
This is not the same. Look at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, okay,
size.
cool.
What are you doing?
I got mine over here. I was about to say, Jesus Christ. Peanut took one of them. I was like, oh no, my whole schedule. I've been trying to wean to stretch them out, and it's just like, ugh. That's not working. So yeah. And y'all already know how we feel about Dark Knight Rises. This is not a good movie.
I don't want to hear what Mark has to say about anything ever again.
But we will for at least 2 more times, so let's get into it.
And then never again.
And then the hard band.
Finally we're here. After 3 weeks of watching Batman movies, starting all the way back with 1966's Adam West, I worked my way through Keaton, Kilmer, Clooney, Catwoman, Bale, and now we arrive with the Batflick, and of course the new Batman movie starring Robert the Patman Pattinson. I've been open over the years concerning my...
This is not Mark.
Yeah, seems kind of put on. But there's the hype around the Batman at the time, so people might come in to watch him watch it, and
So
this
he
might
wants to
just
do-
be that put on because Million put in a TikTok from Mark into.
I watched it.
Why'd you watch it?
No. I didn't watch it all. I watched like 20 seconds of it. Up to the point where he's just like, I don't really love this anymore.
That's also where I stopped. I was like, this, because he talks about his process as well of making the videos. I was like, we have to, because this says quite a lot about him, and there's so much to be gleaned from this. Mm-hmm. So again, he knows the game.
Yep.
And he's playing it because he's already admitted that he's not really enjoying himself.
Yeah.
This is essentially work for him. So...
But I wonder if this is work for him or this is the stuff he really wants to do.
This is a bit more fresh since you're doing movies instead of manga and anime.
And that's part of the issue why you never want to be pigeonholed into something. Because once you get big for doing a thing, you have to essentially keep doing the thing or risk losing viewership. And it's different from somebody that has it as a hobby, even supplemental income, where you've got a job or whatever. Or even just a freelance gig where you, let's just say, make $1,500 a month, and then YouTube gives you an extra $800. You're like, okay, that $800 is truly just extra to me, mm-hmm. as opposed to Mark, who has a company based around it, who has people he hires, that type of thing.
Views on the modern Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, I've never really spoken on what I thought about Warner Bros.' attempt to compete with Marvel in that same vertical. This has been a wonderful project to work on, and today we round it all off. So, without further ado, we're finally here. I'm totally not Mark, and kicking things off, this is my review of 2016's Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice.
This sounds so much like the intro that you hear from like new rock stars or something.
Yeah, it kind
of
does.
Ends with I'm this person and this, like Watch Mojo or something.
But Mark always been doing that.
But no, because his typical stuff is much less that, because I feel like he knows his audience knows who he is.
No, but he does end up with I'm totally not Mark, and this is my review of, reaction to, and thoughts on whatever the
This was an interesting film to start this video off with. In 2016, I was strolling around with my then girlfriend at the time when the thought dawned on us to go and watch the new Batman vs. Superman movie. The title sounded exciting, albeit a bit dumb, but we have...
And that's exactly why it's titled that way. because it's exciting to see Superman and Batman against each other.
This is a very weird story. He was trolling around with his girlfriend, then girlfriend, and then they just kind of stumbled on Batman versus Superman and just thought, hey, maybe we should watch it, as if they've not seen the commercials or any sort of internet buzz or anything about it.
Maybe it was just like, we're out and about. We're here.
No, but this makes it seem that could be it.
Yeah.
But would you go walking by a movie theater just going, yeah?
I have before. What do you mean?
But that's by yourself.
Oh yeah, with somebody else. Yeah, I usually make plans to visit a movie theater with other people.
Because surely there would have been a discussion of, yeah, that movie seems pretty good.
But if it's your girlfriend, y'all are always together anyway, and it's just like, oh, we're out, let's go get something to eat. Oh, hey, that new Batman and Superman movie came out. You want to go watch it?
This seems...
If you got a lazy day where you have nothing planned and you're already out and you see the theater and you go, oh, Batman and Superman is playing.
What are you out for?
To go to Wendy's.
So now there's a Wendy's by the movie theater. This is getting outrageous.
Go to Walmart or something. There are Walmarts by movie theaters. Anything.
Had a few hours to kill and this seemed like an idea as good as any. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. One instance I specifically recall from that screening was my ex leaning across asking me who a particular character was on screen, and I replied,
I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
Suffice it to say, we did not have a good experience.
What was that character? A whole character? Maybe Firefly?
I mean, but Firefly wasn't necessarily a character in that movie.
Yeah.
It was like the origin story of Firefly.
Maybe
really.
Piss Council lady?
Okay, but she's just a regular person. And you don't, like, every superhero movie doesn't have people that are just the people from comic.
Yeah, I would have liked an example right there, because it was pretty straightforward. You got the black general man who was... Yeah, I don't... Okay, Mark.
When we got back into the car to head back home, it was a distant memory never to pop into my head ever again, I thought. Until now. When AJ and I were mapping out which movies I was going to be covering and when, he made certain to tell me not to watch the theatrical cut of this film, which I had seen in the cinema, but to instead go with something called the Ultimate Edition, basically an alternate cut of the film, telling me that the difference was going to be night and day, and to tell you the truth, I didn't believe him entirely.
Because it's not night and day. It is just an elongated thing. There are a couple things that are better in it, and there are a couple things that are worse in it.
Yeah, the whole bullet subplot is just like... It essentially amounts to nothing. Especially when we need to consider, like... These people were riddled with bullets, and they're like, Superman did it. Okay.
I mean, I trust AJ, and I expected a slightly better experience, but still an overall negative one. Spoiler alert, I was wrong. What I once thought was an incomprehensibly boring and rushed film has suddenly transformed into a fun superhero flick. Leagues
with added 40 minutes is more fun.
Do you think he's gonna explain what the incomprehensible bits were?
No.
So this is just the good one. He's just going to speak on the good. I think that he's going to mention the stuff that was bad.
We just had the last video.
I know.
I said
I know.
He's going to explain.
I know.
All right. Yeah.
I know. But I don't see how he can talk about the good without speaking on the bad.
The differences of the original cut.
But
he already said it's out of his mind. Does he even remember them?
Above that, what I saw prior, and certainly better than what I was expecting. And I can't stress this enough. If you haven't seen this alternate cut of the film, then I'd honestly say give it a look. It completely changed my perspective on the story. Now, this isn't to say that this film is without its flaws. Glaring flaws. But we'll get to that.
Why do we need this?
Because we need this. This is the only thing that we need.
Batman. Before tackling this 3-hour behemoth of a movie, AJ also provided me with some required reading. Zack Snyder, the director behind this film, has said an inspiration behind this movie was a comic released in 1986 called The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah!
Does Mark understand Superman? Because it's very clear Snyder doesn't.
Whatever the case may be, you shouldn't need required reading beforehand. Anime AJ, whoever you are, that is nonsensical. I don't need to read the definitive Kyle Rayner run of Justice League or Green Lantern before Green Lantern comes out or whatever.
Did he think this movie was better, or did he have a greater appreciation for it because of the comics he read?
Yeah, because he had to read it beforehand. So that does flavor his...
The viewing of the movie, because now you get some of the references from the comic, which were in the theatrical cut as well.
Oh, is this already tainted? And we can't trust him because we don't know if it's in his thoughts or what.
In which a much older, more aggressive Batman contends with tremendous loss, much more violence, and even Superman. Now, with that said, it's far from a one-to-one adaptation, but there are some interesting parallels. The introduction or credit sequence of the film's opening is taken almost shot for shot from the comic, complete with pearl necklace beads flying. I am, however, glad that they glossed over the origin this time around, as I've seen it way too many times in the last 3 weeks between the comics and films I've seen. And to be honest, I think that's for the best. We know who Batman is at this point, and his portrayal in this film is something I'm very excited to touch on. The way this movie finally commits a horrifying Batman to the screen is, to me, one of its strongest assets. A dark, hulking mass that has villains convinced they saw a genuine monster. One of the earliest...
Do we get enough of that?
No, absolutely not. I'd love more.
We get the beginning with the cops and the sex trafficking.
We get the warehouse scene, of course, where he's going to save Martha. As far as villains around, when he's chasing the guy from LexCorp and he's killing all those people in his car.
Did you say killing all those
Yeah,
people?
oh yeah, no, they're dead.
Okay,
Yeah,
just making sure.
Yeah.
But you can't be convinced that you saw a ghost when it's essentially a tank coming after you. That's not a ghost.
Was that even real?
It's not a
As
ghost
your eye
vehicle.
is blackened. Ghost vehicle.
Batman rescuing prisoners is constructed like a horror movie. One by one, you hear the screams of men taken out as the police officer scales the stairs. He turns, and for a split second, you see the Batman before he scribbles across the ceiling away from you. While Batman
Pause.
taking out...
That's silly, number one.
No.
Number two, he's
Cool.
outrunning shotgun blasts.
Yeah, why wouldn't he? Even if he doesn't outrun it, his armors.
Then why even outrun it anyway?
Because he doesn't want to contend with the cops.
And
he's not a bad guy.
And we've seen this Batman into the shadows thing before. So this is not a particularly unique thing.
But it's such a gripping scene.
Is it?
He's gripped.
villains in the shipyard in Batman Begins goes a long way in selling the horror of what Batman represents. It's here that it's fully realized in arguably the most comic accurate direction. It extends beyond the horror too.
Pause.
The whole notion that...
How much comics has Mark
Consumed?
Yes.
I will say less than 15 storylines. I'm not going to say comics because storylines can run from 2 to like 18. I'm going to say less than 15 storylines. I'll even lower that. Less than 12 storylines. Oh no. Feng Shui!
I just wanted to look up comic to see if he talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And in August 20 of 2020, does anybody know if there's any books on manga paneling theory and or structure? Manga paneling theory?
I was in a thread recently where people were like, Horikoshi is going on a 2-week break. And they're like, I understand because his artwork and paneling have been fantastic these last few issues. And I visibly was just like, ugh, this paneling bush.
Yeah,
it feels like every 3 or 4 years, analysts grip a word that makes them seem smarter than they are. If the fact that Mark does not have any indication of paneling theory, yet is praising paneling, I do not understand.
I don't really read Western comics. Not against it, but none have grabbed me yet.
Yep, less than 12 storylines.
This was in reply to somebody saying, since you're into anime/manga so much, are you planning to dive into comics too?
When was that?
This was in 2021.
Less than 2 years ago.
I am not listening to a man talking about this is the most comic accurate Batman when he has admitted that he's not that into comics.
And, he's going, this is a comic accurate beginning, but the beginning is almost the exact same from the theatrical cut. So if you had seen that beginning before, when you had read the comic, would you feel the same? What is better at this point?
Bruce Wayne is the mask is something I'm aware is the most obvious take in the world, but I really enjoyed the way it was utilized during the party scene where Bruce first meets Clark.
I don't understand people's love of Batman in the form of Bruce Wayne is the mask. This has nothing to do with the video. It is truly just I do not understand you people.
If only we had a video explaining that instead of comparing him to Jesus in 25 minutes or whatever the piss.
What a great video.
That was not a very good video.
No, the video itself, no. But what we got out of it, Morph, Tim Erskine, dude,
Artist
we got
of song.
Masquerade of a drunk billionaire, he James Bonds his way into the restricted area to do Batman things.
Pause. He goes downstairs it's a server room that's next to a kitchen unguarded. Come on. And then once somebody finds him, he's just like, hey, I'm looking for the bathroom. As USB is dangling from his pocket.
Aspect that even the Nolan trilogy often didn't capture.
Oh yeah, let me just hook this onto this, and it's gonna grab all the information. Yeah. Good thing I just have this hook thing that just grabs information from servers that are just hanging on the wall.
Did he program these things himself? Maybe Alfred, because he got a lot of free time while he's doing his bat stuff.
So you're just saying that he's on UMD or whatever that's called, looking up programming tips. He's on Skillshare for programming.
What a callback.
Portrayal here isn't perfect. In fact, I'm aware it's incredibly divisive.
Mark, why was that good other than just mentioning that it happened?
What is perfect, Mark? What has been perfect, Mark? Because it sounds like every time you say this, I know this isn't perfect. It's just a way to prevent pushback from people that are going, no, this is bad, Mark. Why are you speaking positively about this at all? Look, I know it's not perfect, but blah, 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 blah.
I need to just stop looking at his...
Why are you still there?
Because again, the second result when I looked up perfect... This is one of the most uncommon angles in Dragon Ball.
What was the angle?
Naoto Shishida makes it look effortless. Perfect anatomy.
That looked way better in prison school. What are we doing?
Nope.
Stop it! Oh, no. Did you see that comment we got about Mark?
Oh, that person.
Yeah.
Did they reply back?
Of course not.
Every time I sit down and read Berserk, it hits me that this masterpiece doesn't have a full anime annotation, and that does the series justice. It's an epic that paneled our utter perfection. It's an epic that's paneled to utter perfection. That's perfect for a long-running series. And right back to just paneling again.
I truly do not care.
I don't want to look up Mark and paneling. I don't. I can't.
Your phone is gonna crash.
I can't do that, and I won't do that.
I feel like you're gonna end up doing that.
When I first watched this film, something I took issue with, or at least felt stood in my way in connecting with the Bat flick, was the killing he otherwise commits unto criminals. He shoots them, blows them up, and even brands them. And while it makes for a cool visual, the fact that the brand is effectively a death sentence once a marked criminal is sent to jail kinda irritated me.
But that was Lex!
But why would it kind of irritate him? I understand that it's Lex, but he should see that once they're branded, they're marked for death and killed. It should be, for a man smart as that, it should be like, after 3 people, it's just like, I just sent that person to jail. I branded them. And he would try to send somebody to jail without being branded.
Does he care?
And that's what the problem is. But it shouldn't mark him it shouldn't rub him. He said that it's kind of rubbed him the wrong way. It shouldn't, because he's condemning these people to death. Knowingly. Surely knowingly. He should know.
I watched it now, however, with a greater awareness of Batman and all the incarnations he's had over the years, I don't find myself...
Oh, what incarnations, Mark? What else did you read? You've already said you're not big into comics. Did you read anything else? Because all you pointed to was The Dark Knight Returns.
Nearly as bothered. Batman used to kill pretty ruthlessly in his early incarnations, and even
before they got the character down.
Yes.
Before they really established the rule.
Before the animated series, Mr. Freeze did not have the backstory with his wife and his motivation there. He was just kind of a guy.
There's been more time that has been in the realm of no killing than there has been beforehand. When it was just, we don't really have complex stories. This man is just gonna punch a clown. The best that we got is, oh man, this guy is lifting up a car. Isn't that amazing, you guys?
He can jump really high.
He can jump real high, you guys.
Superman couldn't fly in the beginning, so I guess we should just be cool with a no-flight Superman.
This is not a good enough excuse for him knowingly mowing people down. Flagrantly.
If a character that's existed for 70 years has been doing a thing for 64 of them... Don't you think you should follow the 64 and just go, instead of just going, yeah, but the other 6?
Yeah, but he did it before, so that's fine.
His moral code that's become a foundation of the character.
Can we get that?
Find myself nearly as bothered. Batman used to kill pretty ruthlessly in his early incarnations, and even after he developed his moral code that's become a foundation of the character, there have still been many instances where he's killed. One of the wonderful things about comics is that different...
But such as what? In what case?
Where are your indications of this? What are you talking about, Mark?
Was it a justified kill? Was it a kill where he had to for the good of whatever?
Was it like Justice League, The Fate of Two Worlds, or whatever it was? I know that's Marvel vs. Capcom. But whatever it was, where the other people came and he knew whoever ran was gonna die, which is why he had Johnny Flash or whatever that name was do it instead of the Flash. That type of thing. Like, is that what you mean by he's killed people before? Because he did send that guy to his death.
Or are we talking about this moment where he just in grappling hook some dude and then it's just a blood splatter? What are we talking about, Mark?
Killed. One of the wonderful things about comics is that different writers can offer different takes on a singular character.
Pause.
And I think...
And I agree with that, but we would have to see that. We would have to see how he got to that moment. And here all we got is Robin was killed and he just started going nuts so cuckoo on people.
A movie before this would have been the perfect way to tell how Batman went from the no guns, no killing to I truly do not care about the criminal element. the way to clean up Gotham is to get them out of here, and that's through murder.
And this is a big example of show versus tell. We're just told that he got darker and stuff like that. We don't see the first moment that he did it. It just went, and the struggle past that. Like something like Light when he first killed somebody and he knows that he did it. He was like, what the. Do I have the right to do this? He's like, no. I'm the only mother that can do this. We need that. Yeah, write down the. Is that really a spoiler for episode 1? Don't take my phone and write it down.
Everything's a spoiler for everything.
It's episode 1. Shut up.
Yeah, but people haven't seen episode 1 yet.
Near. I forget what happened in Near. I was gonna spoil that, but I can't remember. I think he lived. Yeah, he had long hair in the epilogue one. I need to reread that. Was it really good? I don't know. Probably was.
No,
the ending
was good. The ending was trash. Yeah. That's what it was.
That was unfortunate. But yeah, I would love to see something like that. The conversation between him and Alfred. The first time, the second time,
Alfred,
the third time.
Feelings that Alfred had after the fact.
Yes. There's a whole story there. But we just have to be like, nah, he's killing now. But he's kind enough to save a little girl. The dissonance there.
There's a disconnect from the Batman we know in this Batman, except it kind of is the Batman we know until it's the moment where he's not the Batman we know. So it relies on previous knowledge and throwing out the things that you know about him.
He saves a little girl, but then in the same breath, he takes a father from a little girl. And both are fine.
Different takes on a singular character. And I think that's the best way to take it here.
No. It'd be fine if this was classified as Elseworlds, where, oh no, this is not the Batman you know, and you have to go in knowing to not expect the no killing, no guns Batman. This is not the Superman you know. You have to go in knowing this is a dour, more depressed, more searching for himself Superman. You have, if it was classified as that, but when people watch a thing of source material that they know, they expect it to be close to it, at least the base level of who these characters are. If you want to experiment a little bit off the base level, the foundation is there. If you want to build a U-shaped house on the foundation, that's fine. It's going to be ugly to some, it's going to be cool to some. But don't tear down the foundation and then go, all right, build the house.
Yeah. X-Men, they're against mutant rights. And just go, well, they are a group. So that's still standard. Like, okay, but what about the entire foundation by which they were built? Maybe we should keep that.
However, watching all of these films back to back.
Dead. That man is murdered.
Admittedly, however, watching all of these films back to back certainly makes this quite a jarring take, though. It's as though Christian Bale popped up in a fourth movie taking people out ruthlessly without the development to showcase what brought him to this point. And I think that's a large part of why this bothers many people, including myself to a minor degree. You're dropped right in on a post-Robin death Batman, one that's lost his code and moral compass without quite understanding how he ended up this way in the first place. He's an unyielding, unkind, and violent person in this film, but not without purpose. And I think the way it's portrayed overall does just about work. His actions are not glorified or accepted as permissible. The entire point of this version...
Not acted as permissible by who?
They are glorified. People say that warehouse fight is one of the best Batman scenes. Is he talking about not glorified in terms of the story itself?
I would assume that part.
Okay.
But Batman is technically not admissible even in the most clean version of him because the cops are like, nah, not him.
And is to highlight how Bruce has fallen as a human being. There's a brilliant quote from Jeremy Irons.
We can't see how we only see the effect of the fallen, not the cause. We don't get that A, B, C. We just get half of B and C when he gets basically redeemed. So it's not worth it just to see. It's about the rise and the fall and the rise again. Can he come back to where he was before? But we don't know how he got to that moment to get to the redemption part of it.
Imagine, like, the Power Rangers. The leader is there, and he's fighting for truth and justice and all that bullshit. And then he goes away for 3 months, and then he comes back and he just kills the rest of the Rangers. You'd be like, where are we at here? What happened here?
And let's put it like this. At the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, does that Batman kill criminals? Has anything changed?
Couldn't tell you.
I don't know.
There's a brilliant quote from Jeremy Irons' Alfred that speaks to this very flaw in this film. He says, and I quote, "That's how it starts, sir. The fear, the rage."
No. We're done with the start. We're here.
Yeah.
He's already this.
It's done. We've been here for quite some time.
The fear is already set in. The rage is already set in. What else in there?
And we just have to accept that this happened with Batman. We don't see it. It's just Jeremy Irons saying it.
Feeling of powerlessness that turns good men cruel. He's judging Bruce in this instance, and this very aspect of who...
Yeah, okay. Where was this in the, let's say, 5 years since he's been started doing this bullshit?
Yeah, this is...
Why is he now suddenly judging him?
What has Alfred threatened to leave if this keeps going on? Is he okay with it? How does Alfred feel about the murdering?
Is this cruelty, this savagery, this lack of moral ethic is exactly what this story serves to draw attention to and ultimately serves as the mechanism for...
I don't care about somebody being lambasted for actions that we barely see.
Yeah.
And for reasons why we don't know why they're there. I don't want to just see a judge just going, bam, guilty.
Yeah, that's stupid.
That does nothing for me.
Unless it's like a comedic cut or something.
Yeah. But if it's just like, yeah, this dude, he ate 15 people and he was in all over the Capitol building, and it's like, all right, let's hear this guy's defense about why he did that, just to see how insane he is, and then bam, guilty.
No, I just watched Dahmer. For the people that have watched Dahmer, imagine Dahmer, and the show was just about him eating the people. And you go, well, what started this? Why is he just compulsed to now eat people?
That's why I think the whole murder shows and murder podcasts and stuff, you get to see that this person was born here. Here was their childhood. Here's the inciting incident. Here's what they did after. We get to see all of that. And then it finally ends with they were captured. They're in jail.
They're dead.
Maybe they got away forever. They got off. Whatever it is, we get to see all those steps. I wouldn't want to just hop in and just they're eating people.
They dismembered 17 people and then were never found.
Oh man, 17, huh?
What is the story surrounding that incident and them?
Ultimately serves as the mechanism from which the climax's disaster stems from.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we're done with Batman, by the way.
I need a little word, whatever that word salad was.
Judging Bruce in this instance, and this very aspect of who Bruce is, this cruelty, this savagery, this lack of moral ethic, is exactly what this story serves to draw attention to and ultimately serves as the mechanism from which the climax's disaster stems from.
Okay, but still, we don't know how we got here.
Yeah.
And so I don't attach to his savagery and stuff because I don't believe it because I haven't seen what caused it.
There's no want for that redemption outside of this being Batman, a character that we know. It's like, oh man, Batman, you can overcome this. Overcome what?
I was talking to somebody recently about Man of Steel and Bats v Soup, and Superman just does not want to be there. And it's the worst feeling in the world as a Superman fan. Seeing him rescue people and things and just with the most melancholy look on his face going like you're 6 years into a fast food job.
And it's just,
and you know a double shift is coming because 4 people quit this week. I don't want to be here. I'm going to push ahead. I'm going to get it done. but I don't want to be here. I ask you once again, does Mark understand Superman?
He understands him enough to criticize him.
I don't think he understands him good enough to criticize
Well,
him.
we'll see.
I was just having a discussion about a potential Superman game, and one person criticized that if you're not able to fly it into space and fly all around the world, you're not very super. And it's like, okay, so they don't, and they've already said they haven't really read comics or could understand what could keep them in Metropolis, or why you shouldn't be able to do those things. And people laid it out and just like, well, I wouldn't feel like Superman. So they don't understand Superman enough to criticize it, but argued for it.
But they're dumb.
I
I don't think Mark is dumb. I think Mark is lazy. I
don't even think Mark is lazy anymore. I think he's burnt out. I think he's finished mentally.
Yeah,
He's mentally
absolutely.
checked out.
But that doesn't excuse his earlier
No.
stuff,
It doesn't.
Superman. Something I haven't really spoken about much in this series at all has been Superman and my experience with the character. Growing up, Spider-Man
Hold on.
was always my number one favorite. I identified with the character.
Did you read the comics? Or did you just watch Tobey Maguire in a film?
I identified with him.
Oh my God, more relatability.
You know
more him, every man like me.
Maybe he talks more about it in
The Spider-Man reviews.
I identified with the character massively, and to this day, his films can bring tears to my eyes.
Films. Try reading One More Day and you'll cry for a different reason.
And while Superman isn't that nostalgic for me personally...
Nostalgic? I don't care about the nostalgia.
Yeah.
I watched Man of Steel and went, it stinks. I love Superman. My favorite superhero of all time. Man of Steel stinks. Best v Soups stinks. Justice League stinks. I don't care that Superman is there. Oh, I get to see Superman. Superman Returns is
So does that mean that he's granting Spider-Man more leeway because of the nostalgia?
He can't separate his nostalgia from his media consumption. I recognize this guy and I love this guy, so clap. Those Andrew Garfield reviews have to be shite.
Just watched The Amazing Spider-Man for the first time since I saw it in the theaters. Way better than I remember it being. Andrew Garfield is by far the most comic-accurate Peter Parker in terms of personality. Best web-slinging out of any Spider-Man films.
Are we supposed to clap for that?
Yes.
Him swing good.
Yes. It's
I understand if you're playing a video game. I want to swing well in a Spider-Man video game. I don't care how much he thwips in movie.
I don't think that last swing is any better than any of the Spider-Man Raimi ones.
Is for my little brother. Growing up in the 90s, my little brother adored Superman. He had the toys, watched the movies, and bought those tacky knockoff Superman costumes that never looked good. He would even watch that really old...
The costume looks fine.
but incredibly well animated Superman TV show from the 1940s too. He had all of those episodes on videotape and he watched them so much he literally wore out the tape. And while I couldn't share that same enthusiasm for the character back then that he did, today I'm still delighted he was able to have...
Look at the difference in the... Look at the difference in the lighting!
Holy crap.
So
Look at the difference in their face!
While I couldn't share that same enthusiasm for the character back then that he did, today I'm still delighted he was able to have that sort of experience.
Now understandable, this is the courtroom scene or whatever.
Have you been in a courtroom before? Not on the side of the defendant.
I'm about to say, because I can't speak on that. My lawyer has advised me.
They are well lit. I'm sorry. They are well lit
No, I'm
places.
just talking about the face.
Oh yeah, the face is
Yeah,
tragic.
just but Go back to what he was talking about with his brother and stuff like that. Why he couldn't
And
share.
while I couldn't share that same enthusiasm for the character back then that he did, today I'm still delighted he was able to have that sort of experience identifying with or finding solace in that character.
Why?
I am happy my brother was happy, and because of that, I guess clap.
Why couldn't he identify with Superman? I wonder. What was keeping him?
What's the difference between Supes and Spidey in his mind? The powers? It's
Yeah.
gotta be the powers.
In case some of you are watching this in the future, during the spring of 2022, Russia launched an invasion.
Oh, I forgot about this. Oh no! What? Okay, I forgot. I completely forgot him. I was wondering. I'm like, in top-down serious work? What are we doing here? I thought he was gonna be like, my brother passed away recently, and that now I feel more emboldened to Superman or something. Oh, I forgot about the Ukraine submarine man or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That spun the world in.
Why does this inform who he thinks Superman is for Batman v Superman?
You know he's gonna explain it in only the way.
No,
that
I
Mark
don't know
can.
that.
In only the way that Mark can. You didn't let me finish.
To a whirlwind. At the moment of writing this, there are some horrific scenes, reports, and imagery coming out of Ukraine. However, in that same vein, there too have been some heroic stories. One that's been making the rounds as of late has been that of the, quote, Ghost of Kiev.
Mark, it's hard to think you're speaking from the heart when you're just reading the words that you've wrote.
This video is sponsored by G Fuel.
When is he gonna slot that in?
Maybe don't have the supplement sponsorship where you're doing dramatic black and white in 50%.
Maybe go in a room that's not littered with One Piece in the background.
Maybe a tasteful black background. Slam dunk. Sir, this is clown shoes. Surely you must realize.
It is great he's helping bring attention
Yes,
to the
of
things
course.
he's doing.
God
They're
bless.
good. But the optics are not the best.
You wouldn't be doing that in a shirt that just, you know, one of those, a Hagel or whatever it's called. You wouldn't do that in that shirt. So surely you must realize the optics of your appearance when you're talking about such a serious topic.
It'd be like doing this with a hanging there kitty poster just plastered on the screen while you talk. Just
No, don't take that off. Come on now.
Kiev is a folk title that's been given to a yet unnamed pilot of the Ukrainian military responsible for allegedly taking down numerous Russian fighter jets. Is the story true? Possibly. Is the story fabricated? Possibly too. To tell you the truth, I honestly don't know, but what I do know
Dude,
is
I can't ignore his eyes just darting to the beginning of his sentence as he's reading this.
impact such a story can have on the terrified little children that are hunkered down in subway stations, bunkers,
Sir,
and basements
I
across that
don't.
country.
This
does not help me.
imagery
This
while
does
you're
not.
in front of the height of decadence, which is in anime and manga that you don't need behind you. You've got this big old. I don't need the.
It'd be like these people don't have anything while you flash a gold tooth.
These people are starving, gnawing into a big turkey leg.
And then throwing it out. It's like, maybe.
Hoping and praying for the war to end and for their dads and brothers to come home and for their worlds to return to normal. In the last week, the Ghost of Kiev has become something of a mythical force. And this is what a superhero is. Hope. In the 1940s, as countless
Superman and Man of Steel and Batman v Soup and Justice League is not representative of hope. He just simply is not.
Yeah. We've got that flood part. But my goodness.
As they're debating Is he really a person?
A helicopter could do that and should have done that. Why were they pleading for Superman?
Uncles went off to fight in the Second World War, not knowing if they would ever return again.
Did you watch that documentary, Mark?
Does it matter if you watched it or not?
It does if you want to speak about it in the context of it's just like this thing that's happening horribly in real life, just like back then.
For millions in the United States, Superman, as well as other heroes of the time, helped to alleviate that anxiety, injecting, if only for a moment, some hope that someone remarkable out there could take on impossible odds and not.
Bro.
Oh, I don't care. If somebody probably did opioids and just for a moment thought that everything was going to be okay. Should we praise that? I don't care. This means nothing. People were clapping with those horribly racist Bugs Bunny cartoons with the Chinese people. Thinking like, yeah, get them, Bugs.
And the black people.
And all of them. It was horrible. Did you see that one where Popeye was punching the black people?
Oh, no.
I don't tug my collar much. But my collar got a nice workout that day.
Oh, no.
Oh, Popeye sure did take it to them spear-chucking, bone-in-the-nose black people.
There was no way there. Oh, my God. That's just like Resident Evil 5. Where it's just, dude, if they remake Resi 5, they cannot have those.
It's just the most... That's my thing about that. It's just like the most lazy racism. It's just, yeah, bone and scrub me mama with a boogity beat. It's just...
That was horrible.
It's legit just monkey people.
Didn't even try. The light-skinned one is just like, oh yeah, I'm walking around fine. And all the dark-skinned ones just like, booga, booga, bye.
That's all. But it's just so lazy that they're just like, yeah, they're all just Sambos and Mammies and
it's horrible.
And it was horrible. But if that took away from like, yeah, let's make fun of these black people on the screen instead of the black person over there, is that to be praised like this Superman thing? I don't care what people back then were doing and praising and it took away and hope and all this crap. This says nothing about this Man of Steel movie or Batman vs. Superman when that mug does not do that.
Not only overcome, but save the day. That's who Superman was for my little brother. Well,
No. That's who Superman was, period. This man helped take down the Klan. Legitimate Klan sect.
Why would he not bring his brother on to speak about his
That would have
experience
been
with
great.
Superman? I would not talk about
Or even just a recording. He doesn't even bring him on.
Or
here's him speaking about him.
My brother emailed me this when I asked him what did Superman mean to him.
Let me read it to you.
You ain't even gotta he actually emailed him. You write it and just say that you emailed him. Who's gonna fact check you?
What was the point of the Ukraine thing when he could have just talked about Superman in the Superman documentary and the hope he inspired through that? Why did he need to compare that part?
Nuts.
I would very much hope this isn't a attempt props fishing. Just like, give me a pat on the back because of this. I would sincerely hope that's not the case.
He came from his relatability and the themes of response.
I don't give a about relatability. I just do not care. I don't see in myself in Wolvie. I like the character.
Yeah. We talk about this so much, but it's meaningless.
Meaningless.
To us about the relatability.
Sonya is a serious military woman. Well, no part of that speaks to me.
Responsibility. For my brother, Superman was the one hero that, when faced with two bad options, could always invent a third great one. There's a short sequence of scenes in this film depicting what sort
No. if you watch just the first episode of Superman and Lois and then watch this, you should already see, oh no, this is a bad representation of this character.
Why wouldn't he go to his brother and like recommend me 3 really good This Is Superman, the character, the story, the world? Why would he not do that and then compare like he did with the
Batman thing? He took Anime AJ's recommendations, but he's not gonna go, hey bro, you love Superman, what's 3 good comics? Oh, All-Star Superman, all this easy
Superman can be. And since seeing the film back in 2016, one shot has always stayed with me. Amidst the thrashing of the rising tide, hurricane winds, and lack of help, a family is trapped atop the roof of their home. They have no options. Until there he is.
They got paint.
Last hope.
Look at this bush, dude. I hate this image so much.
It's like she's pleading. Why are you not helping her already?
Why aren't you already flying these people to safety? Why are you just hovering?
It's for the image. That's all this is. This is not a good shot if you look at it like this, like, oh man, he's gonna help. But then it's just like, why hasn't he already helped?
He's here. Okay, when did he get here? How fast? And now why did he stop to just look at them?
Option C that shouldn't exist, but does.
What option C? She asked for help and he arrived. That was literally an option. There was always a chance Superman would come and he did.
Help or no help?
What option C is he talking about?
The option C is hover there, knowing that you're gonna get help, but you gotta work for it.
What he wants to say is something like the Spider-Man let die the woman you love scene. Something like that. Where option C is, I got to save everybody. But there's no make a choice that's both bad no matter what. And I'm just gonna push through and make the correct choice of, no, everything's good now. The option was, hey, there's a chance Superman could come. Let's call to him.
With our paint that's on the roof.
That he's sure to see from the heavens.
Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that this is who Superman needs to be. In fact, I'm by no means an authority on Superman. I have not read any of his comics and know very little about his history. Instead, I am just saying that this was my exposure to the character in my childhood, and now, as an adult, while I understand that a lot of people don't like the godlike imagery he's depicted with, I personally did like the vision behind a lot of these ideas.
No, and that's part of the problem. People that don't understand Superman...
There was a chance that he could have understood him.
Find this to be striking imagery.
Yes.
Amazing. Because they already see Supes as a godlike figure. So this just puts it into a visual medium and it's just like, well, I love the look of this.
There's this where people just goes, yeah, but present them with that, him sitting down with that person and just talking to him, and they're just like, it's the Ralph thing of just like, duff is this? Just grab her and go.
He's lording his powers over her. This is lording.
I need to listen to that again.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
I don't. You're good. If anything, listen to the revisited on.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant by that. But
despite there being much more to this character than I grew up with initially.
I'm sorry. What?
Behind a lot of these ideas, despite there being much more to this character than I grew up with initially.
Oh, he grew up with this Superman, but there's actually more to Superman. He just doesn't understand Superman.
I guess we're done with Superman, even though.
What's the next text on screen?
It's not gonna be Lois. Lex. It has to be Lex.
Oh, good call. I'm gonna go Batman v Superman.
Superman in this universe kills people. I feel conflicted on this topic somewhat.
Why? You don't know the motherfucker.
You don't know if he kills people or not. You ain't read no comics.
Yeah.
He has killed before. And again, I have no problem with the killing. I would have been fine if in Man of Steel, there was a scene where his parents talked to him about, life and death, and he decided, he saw his mom catch a butterfly, and she goes, here, and do this or whatever, close her hand over it to catch it, to cup it or whatever, and Clark did the same and crushed it. And then he just goes, I don't like the feeling, I don't want to kill anything ever again. And then he has to do this. That makes the scream and all the sadness right here. All it would have taken was a 1:20 scene, and this would have contextually been 40% better. But now, I don't know why he cares. It's not for the end of his race, because this Superman doesn't care about his heritage like that. Yep. It's not for killing people, because he never said anything about killing people. God, I hate this movie.
It's a meaningless scene.
It's meaningless.
But it's dripping with deep, isn't it?
What part?
It's dripping
it
with
is
that.
So shallow.
It's meant for you to say, oh, this is so deep.
I mean, you can say that about anything.
Absolutely.
That's the point. If only one person had a point of contention in this fight between Superman and Batman, then it wouldn't be nearly as interesting. And so, seeing as I have no real idea what the definitive or de facto Superman is...
Ask your brother.
Maybe he's about to say that he asked his brother.
I'll accept this incarnation of the character.
Oh.
I just blindly accept it because I refuse to do the research I did for Batman for Superman.
Oh, okay. No, whoops. Sorry, I thought.
Why were you fine with learning that Batman had killed in the past and reading The Dark Knight Rises? Why didn't you read Death of Superman that this is also based off of?
Why is it just...
Yeah, what do you gotta say?
I honestly thought... I can't
you
remember
learned
being
nothing
so
from last
disappointed in a creator. I honestly thought he was gonna be like, I asked my brother, I did anything other than I accept
this is fine.
This is
I saw it once and this is him forever.
I'm heartbroken. I cannot believe that he would not do an ounce of research to figure out if this is a comic accurate Superman.
But he will for that Batman.
But he will for Batman. I cannot believe this.
Oh, but we need that Ukraine stuff.
And him just accepting this Superman.
Blindly. Unquestioned. Question your brother who's a huge fan.
So anything that this Superman does is acceptable because you don't know the character and you're willing to accept this Superman because of not wanting to do research. This is actively your job.
This is where that laziness stuff starts coming in. Because I would never want to put out a video where it's just like, I didn't read anything on this. I didn't watch anything on this.
So I just accept this. It's insane.
Clark Kent, or Kal-El, in this film, I think, is an interesting one. He's very much a small-town, middle America sort of man, and armed with those values, struggles to come to terms with what his role is.
No, you stop that. He does not have values. He struggles with his place in society because he does not know who he is. I asked this question when I was having a debate with somebody about the Man of Steel movie. What does Clark want? What does Clark in this movie, in this series of movies, strive for?
He was just kind of...
Who is Clark Kent?
His daddy was just kind of like, we put you on this planet for you to help them. And he just went, all right.
And what I said is, he is not a person. He is an avatar of his parents. His parents say, hide yourself as much as possible, even if it means that kids gotta die, and he hides himself for years. His parents say, you're meant to be the savior of these people, and he tries to go do that. He is an avatar of his teachings, and his teachings are muddled and trash. So I will not accept this, people in middle America just act this way. No, they're raised this way, and this Clark Kent was raised terribly. That's the issue with Man of Steel. That's the issue with this whole Zack Snyder-verse Superman. He was not raised well, so what does he bring to the table? Personality, goal, want-wise. Values. What values does he have? He has zero instilled in him. I know not to steal, not because, and I live in Detroit. Because my parents taught me not to steal.
He ought to be with the abilities he possesses.
I'm sorry, I need to go back.
Struggles to come to terms with what his role in society ought to be with the abilities he possesses.
A 33-year-old Superman should not be trying to understand what his role in society is and what his powers will dictate he should be.
He should have long since figured that out. If he's doing in all those oil rig savings, he should be like, I do have the ability to save people. I know that if I don't save these people, they would have died. I would have felt bad about it. So why don't I help people? Oh, because my dad said no. What are they gonna do? They can't hurt me.
I asked somebody, how many people has Superman let die to protect his father's teaching of protect yourself?
One at least.
And it's just
his
like,
dad.
We have literally no idea in the 15 years since that scene how many people Superman could have saved and chose not to because his father said no. Do you understand how disgusting that is? Oh, but this Superman is the one I know, so it's good enough.
Fine.
And the responsibilities that come bundled with such otherworldly powers. If with great power comes great responsibility in Spider-Man, then in Superman with absolute power there must also come absolute levels of responsibility. And to his credit,
his power is not absolute.
Yes, it is. Limitless. He's so shiny.
I literally can't.
That's a deep cut.
Is in earnest to stand for something greater and important for the here and now, while being faced with the grim reality his actions have wrought.
Like what? What is that? Is there any indication that he's trying to stand for the here and now and the whatever there? Because even as far as late into this movie, his mother go, be their savior, Clark, or be nothing. You don't owe them nothing.
What grim reality that his actions wrought? This was a setup.
This worked.
So could you if it was 1938, but it's not 1938.
I really liked this line, and I think it really speaks to the character and the turmoil he seems to have found himself in. When Superman was created in...
No, you don't get to speak on this!
Yes, he does.
You ain't read nothing! You ain't done nothing! You're gonna do research of, when he was created. The reasons he was created. To give people hope and to lower people's disgust in Jewish people.
1938, the landscape was far simpler, asking far less of the Superman character. Feats that were fantastic and enemies that were simple and clearly cut made up the order of...
It was much simpler and asking much less of the character, like Batman killing people.
The day. Within the pages of the old comic book, things were far less complicated, and by extension, far less collateral damage was caused. Things are no longer simple nowadays for this character, which is exactly the struggle the modern incarnation of Superman is contending with.
No. This incarnation of Superman. Did you read a comic where he destroyed Ink City?
Where he has to deal with the Mexican problem. What is he talking about, this incarnation of Superman? He doesn't know. He doesn't know modern society Superman.
Honest, I think that's a really interesting idea and angle to take this character.
It's the only angle that you know.
It's always such an interesting angle. It's always such... That's the whole thing with Snyder. He has interesting ideas, but they're executed poorly. And like you said, this is the only thing he knows. So why isn't it an interesting take on the character when you don't know the character? It would be like me. It would be like me watching Sharknado and going, "Oh, this is an interesting take on the main character." I don't know who this bastard is.
Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent. I love it.
Lex Luthor.
You were right.
No!
Jesse Eisen.
What do you know of Lex Luthor?
That's a very good question.
He knows I want that land. Lex Luthor from the Superman movies.
Maybe. He might just lean into this going, you don't need to know anything about this character to know that he's not doing a very good job.
Okay, where do I start? Jesse Eisenberg is a ridiculous choice for Lex Luthor. And before
Disagree.
Why? What do you know of Lex Luthor that you don't know of Superman?
I dive into this, I should make it known that I have no idea what the actual Lex Luthor in the comic.
I really don't want to do this. And I know we say we don't want to do this. I really just do not want to continue with this video.
This is a very odd feeling of not of-ish.
It's always like a tongue-in-cheek, this video. Let's quit it. There's no tongue-in-cheek. It's been removed.
Yeah.
I truly just do not want to continue with this video.
This is great. We both had a moment of just like, no, come on now.
He is not good enough.
He's not qualified enough to speak on this thing.
And
he don't necessarily have to be qualified to speak on a character, but when you're talking about the adaptation,
why not read some comic? Why not just Google Superman recommended comic arcs? Lex Luthor recommended comic arcs.
Superman episodes, best episodes.
Lex Luthor Man of Steel is a fantastic comic.
Play Injustice.
I don't care. Do something.
Listen to their clashes.
Do something more than nothing.
More than literally nothing on this character that you're speaking of the adaptation towards.
Comics is supposed to sound like or act like. However, that I have no idea what the actual Lex Luthor in the comics is supposed to sound like or act like. However, I am familiar with a little, or should I say, small show from the early 2000s entitled...
Wait a second.
That Lex Luthor wasn't even our Lex Luthor. The typical Lex Luthor.
So you know about Superman then?
How much of Smallville did you watch?
But if he's speaking on knowing it, then surely
he said, I'm familiar with a little bit.
Then why speak on it?
Because all it takes is a season and go, I know that Lex, and this is not that Lex.
Smallville. And in that show...
Why did you, put a space between Small and Ville?
I was going to let it go.
Like or act like. However, I am familiar with a little, or should I say, small show from the early 2000s entitled Smallville. And in that show, Lex Luthor came across as more of a cerebral, emotionally stunted, hyper-intelligent, troubled man. Not a flamboyant...
Isn't that exactly what Jesse is?
Yeah.
But he just flamboyant with it?
Taken up to a certain...
Isn't it an interesting take on the character?
What happened to that? But again... Surely, if you know Lex, you know Clark in that show. And if you know Clark, you know his values and his character. So then you should be able to speak on it at that point.
No.
What the is this?
Eccentric megalomaniac. In this...
He is an eccentric megalomaniac! There's a Superman storyline where Clark loses his powers for a year. And Lex thinks that Clark is dead. That not Clark is dead, but Superman is dead. And because of that, he's just like, well, I'm just gonna give everybody superpowers. And he gives 99% of the world superpowers, but he realizes that what he did does not work on himself. So he said, no, that can't be allowed.
No, that's not fair.
So he hit a kill switch and killed everybody that had superpowers that he granted. Eccentric megalomaniac. He killed billions of people. Maybe millions of people just because he couldn't have a thing.
I don't like how you're using examples from comics that you've read.
What else am I supposed to use?
Vaguely gesture towards a Smallville?
So I write short stories when I feel like it, and I have used it. It's like a vague gesture in the direction of blank.
It's so good.
Like in 3 different stories.
It's so good.
It's such a good line, dude.
Film, Jesse Eisenberg plays him with the same energy and vigor as a Mark Zuckerberg on Adderall and ecstasy combined. And I mean, I totally understand that that's largely what they're going for here, a young tech mogul type with a psychotic streak, but at no point does he even remotely come close to the appropriate levels of emotion for this character. And what's more is Jesse Eisenberg...
What's the appropriate levels of...
For the character when you don't know the character?
And if you're just speaking about this, why can you accept everything that Superman does, but not everything that Lex does?
Dude, there is very little I love more in superhero movies than Lex putting his hand over Superman, like lovingly when he's looking down at the pictures of Martha. There's very little I love. Hyper intelligent, he knows who both Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne are. He knows who Superman and Batman are. He did this whole plan. He stopped money from going to a person so he could start hating Superman. He planned so much of what this movie is about out. How's he not hyper intelligent?
Eisenberg is a ridiculously strange choice for this role. He comes across as something more akin to a Riddler or Joker type character than the suave maniac Luthor typically is, where the mad...
Typically based on what, Mark?
That wording... You need some examples if you're gonna say typically.
In Smallville, Lex wasn't eccentric. The month built a room and put his car in there just to figure out how Clark had survived.
Sits beneath the surface.
Well, you look nervous. Is it the scars?
And concerning Eisenberg, I wouldn't even say his performance here is necessarily bad or anything. He's clearly a talented actor and performs...
Red capes are coming. I both love and hate that whole thing. There are parts of that dialogue I love. Like, devils don't come from hell below. No, they come from the sky. I love that logic of Lex. The rest of it, though, oof.
He's being directed to perform. But the vision for the character was all wrong. With that said...
Based on what, Mark? You don't know the character. Oh my God, I cannot believe it.
The cringe is so strong. That's why. Did you see the Jolly Rancher scene?
I love the Jolly Rancher scene. Just this weird dude was like,
no, it's cringe.
I didn't like the piss jar.
No, that's cringe as well.
And even though this character is nothing like Lex Luthor, I do like...
I truly just do not want to be here.
He shouldn't speak on things he knows nothing about. I don't know why he has the confidence to do so.
If there was a comic where Lex is more like Jesse that came out before, would he accept it like he accepted Batman kills people?
Would he?
Too bad he never did any research. Too bad he didn't just go, hey, Google, has there ever been a comic where Lex acted like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex?
Maybe ask some comic friends. Apparently, Anime AJ is a comic man.
I don't believe that. I believe he's
just like, here you go.
I believe he's a Snyder fan, and he looked up what the references was, what the inspiration of it was, and go, nah, you gotta read this.
We have no way to prove or disprove any of this.
Nope.
Both are equally logical assumptions.
And possible.
Like what it offers the story. A paranoid and corrupt man hell-bent on controlling what he can, even when he can't.
The bittersweet pain among men.
Like a Megalomaniac. Oh, but he said dyslexia is a megalomaniac.
Is having knowledge with no power. Because that is paradoxical, and,
Yielding lines with which we can better understand the character, like this. While delivering a speech full of half-truths, he trips over his words momentarily with a clear conflict descending over his face. And in that moment, speaks authentically. He's...
Authentically to what? To whom? Lex Luthor? The character you know nothing about? Okay.
The character in this movie who you said that is not very good or not emotional, the emotional range, whatever he said.
That was emotion all over his face. He just...
driven by similar urges to that of Batman in many respects, which is fitting as Batman plays right into his hands when he manipulates the world of those two characters quite effortlessly. Which, ironically, is perhaps the most Lex Luthor thing he does in this film. There are moments...
I am. That's the last time I'm pausing for him going, is like Lex Luthor, who I know nothing about. Just imagine watching Fantastic Four and going, I have no idea who Doctor Doom is, but it's the most Doctor Doom thing in all the movie. Oh, man.
Ball drops and suddenly we all realize what's about to happen. What a sick sense of humor decorating a number of the choices he makes to either take out or frame his adversaries with. Take this courtroom scene, for example. He wanted to frame Superman in this instance and take out this woman standing in his way. There was no need for the jar of urine disguised as peach tea sitting there, but he did that as a power play, to call back to an earlier conversation those two shared.
Pause,
to throw her
but Mark, surely, the logistics.
How did he get it in there?
How does nobody smell that?
How does Soup not smell? Well, Soups is constantly smelling piss. And there's not much he can do.
It's like, oh, this is what it is. Shampoo, cologne, piss.
in her face before she dies, to show and prove to her that he was always in control. That's the kind of person we're dealing with here. However, and
I don't believe that Superman couldn't have gotten that bomb out in time if he's faster than a speeding bullet and all that stuff.
Or at least grab it and like clasp it to his chest.
Yes.
Like the grenade scene and yeah, something like that.
Anything more than nothing.
At least it would have helped mitigate the damage, even if it doesn't stop it completely. Fly up quickly to the ceiling and then do that thing and just hope for the best.
There are some upsides to this otherwise perplexingly inaccurate depiction of Lex Luthor. What this character offers the ending for me makes absolutely no sense at all. And really only serves to add a profound air of contrivance to the final battle with Doomsday. Lex managing to infiltrate a weird Kryptonian spaceship and understanding in moments how to use it to resurrect/create his own monstrosity using its technology feels extremely contrived for the plot. It's not like it's intuitive either.
Pause.
Bearing in
he asked how to make a monstrosity.
And it spoke to him in English to do so.
That's a problem. But it's dumb. But him going, how to do this? No, he asked.
Yeah, it's dumb but understandable. He Googled it, something you can't seem to do, Mark.
He slashes his own hand, pouring his own blood over a corpse floating in yellow goo. Am I expected to believe that he managed to infer this by instinct and a quick crash course in Kryptonian bullshit? It's a ludicrous stretch.
This is so different from typical Mark videos.
It's very funny.
It wasn't.
Somehow we're 14 minutes in. He's got a 9-hour movie to talk about. And
Joker.
An Oscar winner. And they've not thrown a punch.
Batman versus Superman. As I
we were one off. I was one off.
Mentioned moments ago, the action in this film is really where it shines. Say what you want about Snyder's color palettes or his directorial style, but the man knows how to shoot and
No, this is stupid. Why does Superman, when he grabs the first bullet of kryptonite, not immediately go, "Oh my God, that messed me up. let me avoid the things he's throwing at me.
An action scene. I love the way he shoots so
What
much
is
Superman versus
what is the durability of Superman when he gets hit by kryptonite?
Kryptonite just kind of makes him very sick. It doesn't really stop him from being able to do super.
What about in this movie? We need to look at it like that, not previous knowledge.
I don't know, man.
So we just have to be like, well, it's enough to get him hurt, but not killed. It's like, okay, so it's just whatever level where we need it to be
At that current moment.
Zod battle from the ground as if seen by a passerby. It really helps to create this unique sense of awe and spectacle to the occasion. Furthermore, and this is a small personal choice I liked, when depicting Metropolis and Gotham from afar or within, he took specific care to light them accordingly, shrouding Gotham in shadows and Metropolis in sunshine.
It's a cloudy day. It's overcast. There is no sun shining on this day. People are wearing hoodies and thick coats because it looks like it's about to rain.
Admittedly, this is the editor and not Mark.
But when is Metropolis ever bathed in sunlight? It's all these gray and green color palettes. Even this one looks bleak.
Light versus dark, just like
Shut up! What do you think you're doing with that? You think you're doing anything other than this surface level bullshit that's been talked about since their creation? Shut up! You don't know Superman!
represents. But where this film's action and nerdiness shines is in the fight between Batman and Superman, sponsored by Jesse Eisenberg. Again, similar to the opening of this film, this fight was one of the two parts of this movie that I actually liked. Although I did say at the time that the fight between Batman and Superman was a little on the short side to justify the title. Seeing it today, however, I am a lot more forgiving. The title Batman v Superman isn't implied
It's a battle of ideologies.
What's
It's
their
not the
ideologies?
actual fight.
What's their ideologies?
Light versus dark.
That is not Superman.
Punch versus good.
They both
family
punch
versus just wham wham.
it implies conflict, and those are two very different things. Outside of fighting physically, both Bruce and Clark contend with each other either directly or indirectly numerous times. The two characters are clearly facing their own individual and in many ways diametrically opposing personal.
But it's not called Batman v Clark. It's v Superman. Because Bruce Wayne is the mask of Batman, but Clark is not the mask of Superman.
Issues, which meet a swift resolution once they do eventually come to blows. Despite disliking or finding parts of this film's narrative confusing with regards to its ending, I didn't see much wrong with how they built up the friction between Bruce and Clark in the first place.
What friction?
The friction. He said it. Didn't you hear him say it?
Supes. If Supes would just been like, I couldn't prevent those deaths before. I'm sorry. I've apologized numerous times about it. If you were hurt by it, I truly apologize. A conversation would have helped it. The bat is dead. Bury it.
I did my best in that situation.
Have you never had collateral damage?
There
It's just
was
on a grander scale.
of us. He was equal to or stronger than me. I'm happy that more didn't happen to the Earth. A conversation. I hear those screams every night. I'm working my best to prevent more stuff like that. Nah, you suck.
How could Bat see Supes pulling the oil tankers and rescuing that space shuttle and all of that, and then go, he gotta die?
Because he said if there's even a 1% chance, we gotta take that as an absolute.
But you have the technology to kill him now.
Maybe. We don't know the durability.
What draws them together isn't their shared hatred, but it's another reason. Bruce and Clark meet, as I mentioned, in a party scene, but later too with Batman chasing down a criminal and Superman trying to send Batman a message. Both of these encounters are spawned from their innate desire to do good. However, the conflict of the film stems from their personal...
The goofiest eyes ever. It distracts me every time I watch this
It's not
movie.
great.
issues I alluded to earlier, that they need to rectify if they're going to be capable of reconciling their respective issues with one another. And these scenes prior to their ultimate fight together, while they range in tone from suspicious of each other to downright intimidation, the only reason these encounters happened...
That's the two scenes.
And that's the two feelings.
He's making it deeper than it is.
Always.
This isn't some 4-movie arc that's culminating to this moment.
Mark is nothing if not a man that sees a puddle and digs it deeper. Just to be like, this is basically a pool.
Get your floaties on.
It's not that deep.
We're drowning in this mug.
Well, I'm gonna make sure it's that deep.
Due to their shared desire to better the world, which I thought was a fantastic choice. The fight that takes place in this film between the two is fittingly well choreographed and shot. Better, I think, than any...
What just happened there?
I agree. That
What
was very
just
well
happened
choreographed and well shot. Moving on, because I don't have to prove myself.
That scene where Bruce fights a host of criminals in the warehouse is exactly the sort of energy I was looking for from a Batman action sequence. Gone are the slow, awkward encounters with extras confused all over the place, and here to stay are some truly jaw-dropping action scenes.
Here to stay, he had 2 movies and he's gone forever now. He's part of Flash.
This was the only fight scene with
Thus
Batman of this type.
Oh
so,
yeah, it was. It wasn't even in Zack Snyder's. No.
So how is it here to stay?
And at least he killed some people.
Thank God.
In the fight between the two titular characters, Batman has some brilliant...
Superman cannot avoid that. Are you f***ing serious?
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb.
And introspective lines directed towards Clark. He says, "Breathe it in. That's fear. And you're not brave. Men are brave." And how about this quote? "You were never a god. You weren't even a man."
Pause.
The story...
I never claimed to be a god,
Never!
Sir. I'm
was.
afraid all the time for my loved ones, sir. And speaking of my loved ones, my mama.
Sir.
She is captured, sir. May we have a conversation so that we can help? No, I'm just gonna be in gargoyle and not talk.
Batman throughout this film has been how he's lost touch with his humanity that has defined him as a character throughout much of his modern run. Which brings me to the Martha scene.
He has lost touch with his humanity, but we never saw that losing touch of humanity. We just see the lost touch. And we just have to accept that he's, for some reason, lost touch with his humanity. We don't know how long he's been with that Robin. We don't know how long it's been since he died. We don't know what he did to Joker, because that can't be the same Joker because of the whole inconsistency with Harley Quinn. Her bio says that she helped with the killing of Robin, but the timelines do not match up because she's in like 26, 27 and she's a doctor and it was done like 10 years ago. It can't happen. So there's so many questions that we just have to accept, to just be like, he's gone off the deep end. No, I don't just accept things.
Save Martha!
He can't. We will cut this off
When I
right
first
here.
saw this scene, I laughed.
He is. We're cutting it off.
We can't cut it off. We actually can't cut it off. All he's gonna talk about is Doomsday Left. I swear to God. I don't need to.
How is this 17 minutes? How is the exceedingly longer movie with far more characters,
Far more
shorter?
on.
Like, a lot. I found it utterly hilarious in the cinema back in 2016, and looking back on it, I understand why. The original cut of this film for theaters was 2.5 hours long, while this cut I watched today was 3 hours long. And within that extra half an hour of content comes some crucial part of the story that never got given the chance to really flourish. The intro has possibly the biggest change within the Africa section, introducing a lady that lost her family and blames Superman for it. As a character, she's so integral to painting Superman as a bad character, but she's not in the theatrical cut, and as a result, the whole Lois Lane subplot makes much less sense.
Pause.
Now, with that...
But you... But it doesn't make sense when they have proven evidence of him saving people and doing good deeds. And then she's just going, yeah, he just rocked up and just started lasering people. Nuts, huh? I seen it.
It was cray-cray.
Please believe me.
Please believe me.
Said, I don't think the quote Martha line delivery and sudden realization on behalf of Batman is remarkable or anything, but at the very least it makes sense within.
That is, I will be 60 years old and watching this for the first time since I was 40, and that scene is gonna stop me. And something in the back of my mind is gonna tell me, well, that ain't right. There's some forbidden memory locked in there.
Dude, High Top has ruined that forever. There are some things that people just say or do that just ruins a scene forever. And this is one of them.
Story now. As cringe as that line is, Martha, the mother of Clark, plays a pivotal role in this film, both as a mentor or through reference by his father's vision. The movie goes to great lengths to paint Superman as a man looking for guidance in an increasingly complicated...
This is understandable, but why would you call your mama by her first name? That doesn't make any sense for this scene.
Dude, I've heard people defend it by going...
Yes, they must.
He said he was trying to say Martha Kent, but he was getting choked out by Batman, so it just sounds like... And him making that noise was meant to go, save Martha Kent. Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
No.
Snyder fans are insane. Insane.
So now is the time to talk.
Yep.
Surely they must realize now as he's about to die is the time to talk. Not when he's actively punching the shit out of him. Not when he's getting slammed through walls and stuff and just going, wait. No, now is the time to be like, when I can't talk, save Martha.
World that paints him.
I can't remember if Lex did this, but I feel like it would have been much better if he had given Superman an earpiece so he could listen in. And he go, if you try to inform Batman in any way...
He didn't do that.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been better. All he would have needed to do was that and go, if you try, I'm going to listen in to everything. If you try to inform Batman in any, and I've got drones in the sky to watch y'all.
Say he could just like laser.
Yeah. I got drones in the sky to watch y'all. If you inform him in any way, I will kill your mother. Dan Soups can't talk to Batman, otherwise his mother's in danger until the 0 hour.
Until there's literally no other options.
Some sort of god, a role he has no interest in playing. On the flip side, Batman's narrative is pretty much the opposite. People see him as a demon that's lost his humanity. So falls the House of Wayne. Bruce's family home is left, symbolic of how far he's fallen from the man he once was. He doesn't look at Superman as anything other than a threat to humanity, an alien from another world that can't be trusted, that must be stopped. The Martha line itself serves to paint Superman not as a god among men, but as a person with a real humanity.
No.
I didn't think about it like that though.
How could you not?
It's supposed to be he's
How could you
human.
not?
When his girlfriend comes up and like that's his mama's name.
I wonder if Mark is like Matt Pat, where he'll take a lot of from Reddit and then just kind of repurpose it for his stuff. Because these are all things, for the most part, that I've heard so many times before.
But
or is he just so in the casual mindset?
I was about to say, maybe it's just such a prevailing thought that it's shared amongst a lot of different people. Asterisk, I don't know if Matt Pat does that. Don't come after me. I'm good.
He's literally said, this is from Reddit user. They pointed this out and now I'm making a video about it.
I don't remember him saying that. I remember him saying that this is a part of, and then now I'm talking about it, but I don't remember.
If he's talking about it in the video, it's about it.
No, not the full video. I don't remember
80% of the video?
I don't remember that.
I'm gonna have to point you to something.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. I'm not getting sued. Not for you.
What is that? It's not libel or slander or anything.
You don't. Oh yeah, lawyer BG.
I literally said he takes things from Reddit and repurposes them.
But then you said the whole video. Yeah. Or did you?
I can't remember that part.
Edit.
Cut it.
Cares for his mother just like Bruce, and in that sobering moment, Bruce comes to realize the mistake he was moments away from making. The
Really?
mistake
Is that what happened?
No.
Mark,
that could have cost him.
you don't. Who is having a revelation of, oh, that's what that scene was doing?
People.
Even in the cinema, as I'm just going, this is so stupid. I see what it's doing. It's not doing it particularly well. That's the thing.
That's the problem.
Gotham, not only what's left of his humanity, but the rest of the world had he gone through with killing Clark, the only person who could stop Doomsday.
He didn't know that.
The ending concerning Doomsday has some cool imagery, like Clark taking a nuke in the face and being revived by the sun. A scene taken directly from the Dark Knight Returns comic. But outside of that, there's not much
the comic. You know, the comic.
But not the comic of the death of Superman. Cool.
Wonder Woman?
Oh yeah, what? Dude, what's going on here? We're almost 20 minutes in.
praise. And that's the problem. Anything that isn't dealing with either Bruce or Superman directly feels contrived, rushed, or misplaced. Wonder Woman, for the most part,
he is not explaining why it is contrived, rushed, misplaced.
Oh, but he's about to. He's going to say Wonder Woman.
is brilliant in this movie and doesn't get in the way of the story being told. But
You were saying, sir, that heart is breaking a little bit more every second.
I cannot believe this.
A little bit more every second, huh, sir?
doesn't get in the way of the story being told. But that scene where she goes through exposition.mp4 on the computer is a beautiful example of this film trying to carry more than is capable
No,
of.
that was horrible. It was a horrible scene.
Already bloated runtime. But okay, I've spoken about this movie a lot already, so let's put a pin in this. The best line Clark has in this film comes by way of his final words to Lois Lane before he sacrifices himself at the end. Throughout this film, he's grappled with why he is doing what he's doing. Naturally, he possesses instincts and morals shaped by the culture he was raised within, but through various conversations with his mother and indeed a vision with his father, he suspects or perhaps fears that his wish for himself isn't his own, but his father's. However,
A vision, Mark? That's fine to just have a vision and a story that he shouldn't know. No. And just be like, here you go. Here's the direction that you should go.
I legitimately heard none of that. My eyes glossed.
It's fine.
I don't, until you said pause,
You were gone. It would have just kept playing.
You said vision, and I was like, oh, was he talking about a vision?
Yeah, WandaVision.
Dude,
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, Vision Quest. Yeah. Rob McElroy. Yeah. McElhenney.
words lay that to rest. In reference to protecting what's most important to him, he says, "This is my world, you are my world." Directed towards his love, Lois Lane, and accompanied by a lone piano in the soundtrack, that moment comes across as stunningly beautiful.
Has Mark seen Man of Steel?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
How long have they been together?
I'm going to go 4 months, maybe?
I do not think that they've shared enough scenes for me to believe that outside of my knowledge of Lois.
Oh, no, it was
Clark.
2 years later, wasn't it?
I do not remember.
From the Man
I think
of Steel?
it might have been 2 years
I think
later.
it was 2 years later.
I'm not going to look that up.
It's fine. Mark it up. This is Markisms.
It's fine.
This film did have a lot of issues with its characters and its plot. I was surprised to see my impression of this film change completely after completing this ultimate and extended edit of the film.
Pause.
The fight scenes are
Change completely after completing. Fix that sentence, number one. What was the plot issue? Oh, I guess he's just talking about Lex Luthor and the goo. The fight scenes. The choreography, the angles.
What was different from the first one that he thought was better in this one? Or are you going based on your 2016 remembrance of how you felt and thought about the movie? If I was Mark, I would have watched both of them. I would have watched the alternate cut because that was what was recommended. Then I would have watched the theatrical to note the differences of them.
To be the most fair, he talk about the African lady.
Okay.
And that was a difference. I do not believe that he offered any other substantial differences.
Did he talk about Jimmy at all?
No, he didn't.
The reason Clark went to the island, he didn't go to the island in the theatrical cut. The boat scene and all that, none of that.
He did not say the name Perry White. He said Lois maybe twice. Wonder Woman once. Definitely.
Are clearly the best any Batman character has ever seen in live action, and the final half of the film, while contrived in a few places, is a ton of fun.
How many times did he say it contrived? 4, 5?
But it's a ton of fun.
In 20 minutes. That means he's doing a contrived every 4 minutes.
With some interesting storytelling at play with respect to the Batman and Superman characters.
I agree.
And in the end, that's the most important thing in a film about these two characters. In short, I'd watch this movie again. The good certainly outweigh the obviously bad. I'd give it a 6.5 on a bad day or a 7 out of 10 if I'm feeling generous.
It does not deserve above a 5.
There are 18 minutes left.
Okay, finally we're done with this movie. Okay, time to move on to something completely different.
Okay, let's
just hit play every now and again, just so we get a little bit of flavor for that.
On which this film so elegantly dances upon. Now, in saying that,
what does it dance?
Would have looked like, or would have even tried to say, without these films having already clearly blazed a trail on which this film so elegantly dances upon.
It's the
now,
dance.
In saying that, I'm not suggesting that I didn't like The Joker at all. The King of Comedy and Taxi Driver are some of my absolute favorite films, and to see a modern spin on these ideas with a Joker twist was quite interesting.
Why can't it just be its own movie, Mark?
I don't think he liked the Joker.
I don't think he liked the Joker.
Nature with which Joker's thoughts blurred the lines of reality and delusion seamlessly. It served to really enhance the story that was being told while building Joker up to be the sympathetic monster he eventually becomes and wanted to be recognized as. And I guess I like that the film story could very well have been a lie told by Joker in a hospital towards the end. I just would have preferred or found it more interesting for this film to feel more like it had something unique to say or had more of its own visual language incorporated into the film. Todd Phillips is clearly a talented filmmaker, and
this
is
visual language.
Yeah.
You want to talk about all those shots in Batman v Super? You want to talk about all them angles in Dragon Ball Super Broly? Then you put this scene up and it's just like, I wish there was more visual.
There's a couple of scenes in this movie that just shows the filth of Gotham. Where I'm just like, this is a toilet city.
There was when they were in a ambulance or something. I just remember thinking, this is a good scene. This is a well-structured, well-looking scene. I just remember that. The thing, the talk show.
The part where he has blood on his hands and he uses the blood to make his smile wider. And it's kind of crooked and...
to be making some fantastic films.
The footprint,
dude. I do not.
I don't love this movie. I like it enough, but he's wrong.
To compare his other films to this, these feel like Todd films, while this one here distinctly feels Scorsese. Having said all of that, I still really liked The Joker. I think it's one of the few comic book films that could actually be viewed by anyone and everyone over the recommended age.
Everybody can view anything. Do you think Marvel fans are in their 15s? There's 40, 50-year-old people going into... we went into Green Lantern with some old women.
With an award-winning performance by the Phoenix Man himself, there's a lot to respect and enjoy. My final score for this film...
Look at this shot. There's no distinct I don't know what he's talking about, dude.
is an 8 out of 10.
It's
Now
an
time
8 out of 10, and you spent, what, 4 or 5 minutes on it? And the movie that you give a 6.5 on a bad day, 7 on a good day, you spent 18 months on?
Watch something I've never seen before. That's right, I'm talking about Zack Snyder's Justice
This
League.
gets 13 minutes. 7 minutes less than Bats v Soups.
From 2021. I haven't even watched this film yet, and I'm already exhausted just looking at its runtime.
Why wouldn't you watch the original Justice League and this?
Way back when I first watched Batman vs. Superman in theaters, I had such a bad time watching that film that I pretty much gave up on all things DC after that for quite some time. I did end up seeing Wonder Woman through a friend, and to my surprise, I actually had a great time watching it. There are some
Why is that a
awesome
surprise? Just because it's within the same company? It's what is it?
I've given up on DC films, except the one that came right after it, and there were none that came after that. All right, then. Suicide Squad, but I don't know if you watch Suicide Squad. I would recommend The Suicide Squad and or Peacemaker. Well, and Peacemaker, because you need The Suicide Squad for that.
scenes in that film, not just including the No Man's Land scene, and I thought Diana's Wonder Woman was a truly sweet and good hero for us all to follow along with on these adventures.
Cool.
This in turn gave me hope in 2017 for the Justice League film. And that's when my friend told me about his experience. He didn't like it. In fact, for your entertainment, since I never saw the original Justice League, I asked 3 of my friends if—
But you couldn't ask your brother. I can't believe this. He couldn't ask his brother, but he's gonna ask 3 of his friends about their opinions on a movie from 2017 when it first came out, but he couldn't ask a lifelong Superman fan about his thoughts about Superman. I just have to assume his brother is no longer with us. And there's no hope there. There's no I want that for Mark to be.
I hope for the sake of Mark's integrity.
I don't even hope for the sake of Mark's integrity because I don't believe he has that much integrity. If he's doing something he doesn't like just to make money for it, but that's the only thing that makes sense at this point because he's willing to ask his friends for stuff. He's asked 4 friends so far, 3 at minimum, but his brother is not to be asked.
I don't know how many brothers that he has, but in 2022, his brother was a pro Halo player.
Okay.
And I'm just looking through.
Yeah.
There's not too much on the brother, but I have to. There doesn't seem to be anything that's like other brothers.
Yeah.
There, 1-sentence review of that movie. These are those reviews. Friend number 1. Justice League is like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
I don't care about these nameless people.
Yeah, I cared about your brother because he was a Superman fan and could inform you.
Who's saying their thoughts 5 years after the movie came out with the express interest of being in the video for you.
Clothing, something totally different, twisted into a watered-down joke fest with no soul and a blatant...
It has the best Superman in all of the DCEU so far. There's no soul stuff.
Attempt to recreate the magic of the Avengers, with which it falls short in every conceivable way.
No, dude. The scene where Aquaman has Wonder Woman's lasso is a fantastic scene. The movie is trash. Don't ever mistake it.
It's a funny scene.
But there are some great scenes in that.
To his character.
Friend number 2. This film is carried by its character interactions, but ultimately falls to pieces with no real central driving force and a villain with so little presence that any sense of a Justice League level threat is completely non-existent.
Quotes there.
And finally, my personal favorite.
He does have presence
Yeah.
I really like the scene where he was going through the Amazonians and he's smiling and just going, y'all gonna love me. Don't worry.
I also love the scene of please don't, I have a family or I have children.
Everybody keeps saying that.
Why does everybody keep telling me that?
Like I give half of a
review.
and he says a Justice League level threat. They needed Superman before they could beat him.
I don't know how much more of a threat you can be.
I pirated it, and I still felt ripped off. Great reviews, guys. So if that was the general impression from fans of the characters towards the end of 2017, let's see how my feelings compare in this Zack Snyder cut.
Why wouldn't you watch the original so you can have your own feelings instead of just, oh,
That's
these
a
are
very
three
good
people.
question.
That was a fucking wild experience with some truly brilliant moments.
I don't wanna.
It's just the soul just gets sucked out. It's Shang Tsung just just in 2 hours. Just slowly, you just sitting there just going, but no, that's my soul. As it's just slowly getting taken from your mouth. Like, no, but I need that.
At this point, are we even
I don't
doing
think so.
the Dark Knight
I don't think we
Rises? Okay, then. Because this is way
we might
longer
have
than
to
I...
just like tack it on, maybe do it like Friday or Saturday or something. Just
Yeah.
like put out a 30-minute or what. It might not even be worth it. He might hate it. I don't know.
Yeah, at this
But
point.
I'm losing
I don't want to be here
steam.
anymore.
He's killing me.
You?
Yes.
After I had to hear all that Lex and Superman bullshit?
I fought for him to be in triple S tier, if you remember.
You did? And I didn't believe
So this is comic book stuff that's getting to you, and this is Mark stuff getting to me.
Do we have to reevaluate that list at some point?
Of course we do.
We're going to have to at some point because some of that has to be outdated at this point.
And that's not to say that I didn't have my issues with this one from time to time. I bet this is a common complaint.
You have issues with everything,
he's
Mark,
saying-
because there's nothing out there that is flawless, Mark.
He's saying that it's not perfect without saying that it's not perfect. That's all he's doing. Mark has a way with words. We've
Yeah, a
established
trash
this.
way.
That's a way.
First 19 minutes to 2 hours of the film really dragged for me. With that said, I knew
19
exactly...
minutes to 2 hours? It really dragged? Don't you think that's a problem, Mark? I think that's a problem. Because there's nothing keeping you in front of that TV as the film is dragging for half of its runtime.
what they were doing, establishing the main cast in Steppenwolf, The Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg, who all play very important roles in this
Pause.
film.
But if they're establishing it and it's dragging, that means that it's not interesting.
Yeah.
So what's keeping you? If you're interested, you wouldn't be like, this is dragging. You'd be like, this is good. I don't feel things dragging when I'm interested in them.
Yeah, I can watch a 26 episode, 40 minutes per episode series, and I'm not gonna feel like things are dragging by episode 8 if I've been interested in all 8 episodes. Oh, dude, I will never forget my wishy-washiness of Gotham. It's one of the greatest things. Gotham was horrible this week.
Gotham was great
so
this week.
good this week. It was the craziest. And I was ranting on both sides.
And they do a really good job of that in this
You
movie.
should not show this scene.
Hot dog.
This is not the scene you should show to go, they do a really great job in this movie.
In addition to reintroducing Wonder Woman who's saving people, Batman
Pause.
who's recruiting...
So you gotta look at it like this. Superman is as fast as that guy who's moving in slow time. So he couldn't have grabbed that bomb.
Not as fast, but very close.
The eye turning scene.
That was great. Yes.
That tells me that he is
At least very close to
if Flash is 100, because he didn't really hit him.
Yeah.
So if Flash is 100, he's a 99. So he must have that slowed down time as well, where he could have, as he turned his head, grabbed him. The Bomb Man, I mean.
Yeah, of course. I know who you mean.
People and Superman, who's super dead now after the last film. The structure of this movie, particularly in the first half, interests me to an almost pathological degree. This is a 4-hour film, and boy did I feel every agonizing second of that time. This film is broken into a series of chapters, and due in part to that, I don't think I can see this as a film, but instead, more like a hybrid of a series and a film put together. It's like this ridiculous high-budget TV program that someone cut the intros off of, slapped them together, and called it a day. It feels extremely thorough in explaining what's going on. And
so, what that happened before in the opposite way for the last Resident Evil film, the animated film. They cut it at like 30 minutes to 20 to 40 minutes. And instead of it just being an hour and a half movie, they made it like a 5-episode TV series, Netflix. And it was clearly bush. I don't feel that series thing with this Zack Snyder thing. It feels like a long film.
There is no, okay, now is the downtime. Yeah. Now is the Amazon cut.
What people are doing almost to its detriment. Like, you know, with books, they usually adapt the material to work for a film. Well, this feels like a book in many ways that didn't adapt its material for the screen. And admittedly, this does have a lot of positives. Before this film began, I knew virtually nothing about half of the individuals that made up the Justice League.
You ain't know shit about Soups. I am not a gatekeeper in the way of, if you don't know The Flash, you should not be reviewing Flash material, whatever. What? You could be informed by that.
At least a passing knowledge of the character.
Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg to be exact. And due to this film being effectively long enough to jam 2 average-length feature films into, these characters all felt fully explored before the plot demanded anything significant of them.
I don't think Aquaman felt fully fleshed out.
Oh, definitely not. Except when he's underwater. My king, you must blah, blah.
But your mother, and the trident, and this, and this. And you're the would-be king, and you're saving people, and you're drinking.
Your brother real bad. All right, I guess.
Really cool quotes. This one, for example. I can't sit here watching you run in place for some dead-end dude who's not going anywhere. That's a fantastic quote from Flash's dad because it lets us know.
But then you have to look at the other part of the scene where the dad's going, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, well, let me explain what I'm doing here. You were falsely accused, and I'm trying to be a forensic man to get you off of here." And it's like this. It's such clunky dialogue in that part.
I wonder if the Flash, the axis, the onus for Flashpoint, is going to be his father is going to be executed.
That'd be interesting.
What Barry's been doing in a very efficient amount of time while also telling us a bit about himself.
No. I was just gonna let it go, really? Dude. After all that Lex and Superman stuff, I can't with efficient. Yeah. It is what it is. He's hit the 10 on me. I'm not going to get worked up over an 8.
Or how about this quote? I've spent enough
You've had this in Carolina Reaper, but what about this jalapeno, huh?
What about it? You've had the greatest Wendy's burger in history. But how about some meat on a bun?
Well,
I mean, it tastes good, but like, it's not really doing nothing for me.
I've spent enough time trying to divide us. I should try to bring us together. A wonderful line from Batman that speaks to the growth
again. We haven't seen that.
We're
just told that,
dude. We don't see the growth or regression of Batman through these films.
We don't see how he came to become the Batman, how he regressed down to the point that he was, how he built himself back up.
on while also helping us to understand his role in the group. He's a leader, a facilitator, someone that feels a deep responsibility for this world and these people. Cyborg gets a ton of backstory in this film also, and it's to the film's benefit for sure. There's this scene that shows him running down a football field, and I swear that's the most Zack Snyder thing I've seen since the 300. In fact, that specific shot I'm sure was in both films. However, with that said,
makes it the most
it
Zack
slowed down
Snyder
from far
scene?
Away. Is Zack Snyder accurate?
This is...
Huh? What is it? What could it possibly
How
be?
could we have possibly done 2 more videos past this next stream upcoming? It's impossible.
Dude, and these people want it. That's the worst part. Past the stream that's upcoming, we would have to do 4 more videos at least. Because if it was shorter Mark videos, we'd probably add it on to another one.
Impossible.
Dude, it is literally so draining.
I don't understand. The Mark fans, Mark himself, these bastards that want this.
Mark changed his whole YouTube name to be Mark Muff.
I do not understand anything surrounding Mark Fitzpatrick, I believe his last name is. He said it. I'm not doxing him.
However, with that said, I don't think this film justifies its runtime at all. There are scenes like when a bunch of Scandinavian women...
Horrible.
She gets a big old whiff of that sweater.
But, on tour.
But did he feel that the 3 hours was justified?
Of what?
With half the number of characters in...
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, he never really talked about scenes that could have been cut down.
Sing to Aquaman, or when Steppenwolf fights a bunch of Atlanteans, or Wonder
Why
Woman...
would Steppenwolf? Because he gotta get the piece of the mother box. What do you mean?
telling us what happened once upon a time thousands of years ago, and it's
to inform us of who Darkseid and Steppenwolf are? I'm sorry, we're getting explanation over why this is happening.
And what could happen if they get to the thing that they want?
He's collecting these mother boxes for what? Oh, because a long time ago he be real powerful. Let's go.
It's not that interesting to me.
Why wasn't it interesting to you?
Because he's not a comic reader, so he doesn't care about seeing like a Green Lantern or anything.
I suppose so.
But even then, it doesn't matter if it's interesting to you if it informs the story.
Yeah. But again, I would like for him to explain why it's not that interesting.
Would you? I've asked this before. Would you interview Mark?
No.
Even if you could ask all these things, you got nothing to say. You just wish you had you could text Mark and just be like, what did you mean by this, sir?
The only thing that I would ever ask him is, do you think that you've made a competent video when you said, I like these characters more, but these characters are more fleshed out, so it wins. These characters are more fleshed out, but I like these more, so it wins. Do you think that you've done a competent job with explaining yourself in that aspect? That's the only thing that I would ever want to ask him. Because that answer would tell me everything that I want to know.
It actually truly would. Either he goes, I wasn't thinking about it that hard. I just thought that it's just how I felt at the time, which informs you that he is truly not thinking about the content he's putting out. He's just going on his own feelings and just going, this.
And if he just goes, no, I think that is good enough. Then that just goes, all right, click.
Exit the call. We got him.
No, I think I've explained myself properly with that. Next question.
Or if he just admits to just like, it was to give it a tie so the fans could vote because I wanted their input on it.
And that, again, tells you so much. Yep. So there's no answer that wouldn't inform you greatly about Mark himself, and all of them are trash. There's no winning. So I guess I don't even want that. I don't want to ask him that question. It makes me view him worse.
Who are 3 people you would absolutely not interview?
Cosmo.
Cosmo, really?
Yes. Triggered.
Of course.
Mark.
I feel like I would interview Triggered.
No.
I
He is stupid.
Yes, he's a stupid man. But I love diving into the mind of stupid people. Just to be like, what informs you of being this stupid? How can you not understand this?
It's gotta be a mix of stupidity and narcissism. Because he's got a very high self-worth.
So that was Mark, Triggered, and Cosmo. For me, it would be Nux.
Nux is knocking at that door.
Dude,
He seems because I've seen. Did you see the clips of
them talking about Mudahar, yeah, them talking about DSP.
Yeah, he seems like a 6 or a 7 there. I could take
no.
there.
I told you.
I said there
because he has no information. Even then, he's
right.
trying to interject himself into the conversation.
Right. I don't have the information, so I'm backing down on that. You see how that goes? I'm not gonna speak to it further because I don't know, Mark.
I'm only talking to people we've done at least some type of content on. So we've got Nux, we've got Lily. I am not up for any of that.
Agree. I 100% accept that. I'm not gonna fight you on that one.
And the last one would probably be the synthetic man. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Odd that we both had 3 different people.
Cause your people, like, I don't understand the Mark
surface level.
Yeah.
You deep cut.
Yeah, dude. Nut, I can't deal with the energy of Nut.
I understand that. I understand. I couldn't.
Lily, I just do not think. I don't want to tiptoe around anything.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I don't want to just be like, in your fanfic. What was your inspiration
for the lesbians? And they're like canceled already.
I don't want any part of that. And Synthetic Man, I think, is just not a good person.
But I think that Cosmo is so lazy and dishonest.
Absolutely. I would love to take him to task on his dishonesty. Just say it like this. They have to answer questions honestly. I would love to take Cosmo to task on his dishonesty.
But they are those are all the character types in JoJo. Those are. That's all.
No, but what about this, and this?
Nah, well.
That's where I would X out. That's where I'd be like, all right, interview over.
Really
have a real reason for Mark.
What other reason?
You're like, Cosmo, look, he would be lazy. His answers would be bad. There's 30 reasons. Mark?
I ain't got nothing to say to him. He don't even like this that he's doing. What am I supposed to do?
What would you like to be creating these days? If your audience was completely receptive to your new project, what is the project?
Sure, that's good. That's something that's deeper than yo. What are you talking about? Why don't you ever explain yourself? It would devolve into that, and I don't want it to devolve into that.
Which I understand.
All 3 of them, it would devolve.
You are like I was like I don't want to tiptoe around Lily. You're going. I don't want to antagonistically attack Mark.
Yes.
And I can't prevent myself from doing that.
Mark seems like a nice enough guy that I don't want to unleash my wrath on. Triggered, there's no point in talking to him.
The stupidity. Dude,
unless he comes to that Discord and honestly wants a conversation, in which case I will honestly have a conversation with him, but it needs to be both of us. You dumb piece of
Again, he has to answer honestly. I'd love to ask him questions that he 1,000,000,000% has to answer honestly. My God, I'd be posing questions left and right to that man.
But he's so stupid.
He's so stupid.
He would do whatever he can to justify whatever answers he can.
Absolutely. And the question is, does he truly believe the things he says?
That's what it is. Because look at that in the Just Stop thing. All that hot he was talking there. Oh, no, I got panels. Panels for that ass. I hate how much I love those episodes.
They might be our peak episode.
And it's just so little to do with what we're actually saying. But it's
26, it's like 26 hours, and there's not 20 minutes out of that where I'm like, I'm bored here. I don't want to watch this part. There are times when people will clip it in the Discord, and I'll go exit out of the clip and just listen to whatever's after that. Dude.
It's crazy how good those are because of the insane, just the whole don't like characters and you're not supposed to like.
You're not supposed to like them. What's with all these moms liking characters? Like you're supposed to attach to them. That doesn't allow you to be objective. You objective. There are very few things I tell people to watch with Revisited. I might one day just make a best of the longer videos. I might just do a best of for those, so people don't gotta watch 37 hours to get to the best bits of them.
There's a lot of good stuff in that triggered, but I can see it be a daunting of just like big number.
What was he talking about?
Oh, this video, Mark.
So I've been doing timestamps recently. I think I'm going to have to timestamp this part where it's just like, I was talking about interviewing people.
Sing to Aquaman, or when Steppenwolf fights a bunch of Atlanteans, or Wonder Woman telling us what happened once upon a time thousands of years ago, and it's just not that interesting to me. I understand that this is all part of what builds up the midpoint climax and ultimately the conclusion of this film, and yet I can't help but feel like this film could have shaved off 45 minutes and seen some massive benefits. The first 90 minutes of this I found to be a real slog, and by the time I got to the halfway point where things really started to pick up, while I enjoyed it,
they punch now.
I needed to take a break as the movie hadn't progressed in a significant enough fashion to entice me to hang on any further.
It's long setup.
Yes. There are 6 different characters. You need to figure out where Batman and Wonder Woman are post the Superman thing. You need to establish the villain. You need to establish 2-3 whole characters that we've never seen before. Just saying that they're doing setup, yes, they are doing setup.
Problem? Well, it depends on what you want from a movie, I guess.
What did you want from the movie, Mark? Is he gonna explain it? Because I have serious doubts these days.
I can't even speak to if he's going to or not.
I can't believe in Mark anymore.
Yeah, one way or the other.
On one hand, I found this film to be quite long-winded, but at the same time, I've become captivated by the journey this film has undergone.
Never mind, I'm on both sides of the fence.
So is it too long-winded and meandering and boring? Or is it, no, I'm along for the ride, though?
It's an interesting ride, and I'm along for it. How could people want us to do this 5 more times?
5? But these people want Salad Saying.
I do. But Salad Saying is always coming out with some new, fun, goofy. That we just did. That was goofy, and I loved it. He's so terrible.
And this was something I only recently learned about thanks to my friend who filled me in on everything. Originally planned to complete this, Zack lost out on his original vision for this film due to the tragic death of his daughter, forcing him to step away and leave the production to Joss Whedon. The finished product ended up sucking tremendously, and Warner Bros.
You can't know that it sucked tremendously because you did not watch the film, Mark. You are not an authority on speaking for the Joss Whedon Justice League because you did not consume the product. That would be like me going new items at Taco Bell. It sucks. Never took a bite.
It doesn't, because it's impossible for Taco Bell to suck.
There are some items at Taco Bell where I'm just like, eh.
Well, not... Unless it has like an overabundance of beans or hot sauce or stuff like that.
I'm not a big fan. Yeah, like the bean burrito, which is just basically beans.
Beans and lettuce and tomatoes, stuff like that.
I'm not a big fan of
that
the,
crap is like $1.39.
I'm not a big fan of the Mexican pizza.
I haven't had it yet.
Okay.
I want to try it.
But it sucks for you because you've never had it. That's what it's like.
No, caught up.
Ended up sucking tremendously, and Warner Brothers basically canned the entire franchise there and then as a result.
It still can't. Even after the Zack Snyder one. It had nothing to do with that. It was going f***ing nowhere.
Plus, we don't know if it was canned because it sucked or did not meet the monetary expectations.
Yeah.
It took fans years of complaining to get Warner Brothers to allow Snyder the chance to finish his original vision. And so,
No,
as a
not complaining, harassing. Get it right.
result, this is very much a completely unrestrained film that tries to do everything it can with the knowledge that there ultimately probably won't be more. And so, while that doesn't invalidate how you or I might feel about this film's long-windedness, I think it's kind of nice to have a properly autorial superhero movie that holds nothing back.
I don't care about it holding nothing back.
I am the
Things need to be
consumer.
held back.
I am the consumer. You yourself said 45 minutes. I am the consumer. I don't care about, the authorial direction of the blah, 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 blah. But if the film sucks to me.
He's simply looking at it as, it's to be lauded that he did it.
And it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
A grand opening, grand closing.
Yeah, that's as far as it goes. Now let's talk about the quality and the things that can be shaved off.
Oh, they're
things
cooking
that
you in the Discord.
How? Why?
They're
What did I do?
They're cooking you
I
in the
didn't do anything.
They're cooking you
What
in the
happened?
They're cooking you in the Discord. They're cooking you in the Discord. So many ketchup memes. What happened?
What?
You're just typing up immediately. They're cooking you. Woo!
What's going on?
Admit it, you like ketchup pre-cum. They're cooking you.
Justice League versus Superman. Right before the Justice League fights Superman after
You want to talk about the great action scenes of Snyder? I feel like parts of this are the greatest he's ever done. The eyeball scene alone is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in a superhero movie.
Good. It's scary. It shows the power of Superman. Says a lot in that just little bit of and he's just like, I'm screwed.
Is he looking at me?
On Deadified, the team unite against Steppenwolf to close out the first 2 hours of the film. That unification sort of acts as the midpoint climax, and to the film's credit, I really thought that was a strong moment. Much needed too, as they, up until that point, hadn't been seen much together. And at that point, I was also concerned that this film wasn't going to create any moments for the team to actually talk to each other, to converse, to argue, to really explore their dynamics. However, thankfully
I find it hard to believe that in a 4-hour movie, he believed that there was not going to be that time spent for them.
Why would you believe anything of Mark these days? Positive or negative? It's time to just stop believing. When it comes
Just
to Mark,
accepting.
I believe or I don't believe, it's meaningless at this point.
to do just that as they deliberate over what they ought to do with Superman. Cyborg and Aquaman share some tender moments together along with Flash, Diana too with Bruce, and it's moments like these that really make me want to root for these characters.
Just moments make me want to root for these characters.
What else do we have?
Because Superman was awesome in this movie. The revival of
Superman was awesome in this movie because him punched real bad and him like strong.
Big fist.
Superman is awesome when he's in Clark Kent doing
big fist.
and with the Justice League's subsequent fight against him might be my favorite part of this film, save for the endings fight perhaps, both of which happen to include Superman.
This fight is my favorite part of this entire movie, except for that other fight. Not a character moment, not a joke, not a shot, not an angle, not a theme, not music. Fight comboed into fight. It's a good fight. The last fight, not so much.
Clark body literally everyone in his team with ease shows just how powerful
It's not
he
a
is
team. He don't know these people.
when he's not restrained by his humanity. Not to mention how scary he can be.
Why is he not restrained by his humanity, Mark? What is keeping him from his humanity?
The goof.
It's the goo.
Was someone I thought was incredible in this film, by the way, and facilitates some of the best moments in the entire movie. I swear, when Flash runs past Superman at a ridiculously fast speed and Clark's eyes tracked him, I actually got chills.
I wouldn't go that far. It was cool.
Such an incredible moment, capped off by the most important thing in his life, bringing him back from the brink, Lois Lane.
Hey, us cops are just here, seeing all this, hearing you scream Clark.
Who's
Kal-El?
He said that was his one of his favorite moments. Let's just say this is the number 2 moment, and his final fight was the number 1 moment. He spent less than 2 minutes on that. He did not say the word Aquaman. He did not say the word Cyborg.
He did say Aquaman. He shared a tender moment.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He did not talk about them in terms of this fight.
No, why not? Why would you? There's nothing to talk about.
League versus Steppenwolf. There's a moment in this fight that
there's a lot of verses in this one.
It's almost like this Mark has a one-track mind and is very monkey-brained. Even though when he's talking about manga and anime and stuff, he's talking about he doesn't really like fights.
How did we ever think we were gonna get to the other video?
We were so young back then.
Of me that I thought had died long ago.
I'm sorry. What? I almost just let it drop.
Inside of me, from the brink, Lois Lane. Justice League versus Steppenwolf. There's a moment in this fight that reawakens something inside of me that I thought had died long ago. This childlike sense of wonder when looking at a superhero.
When looking at a superhero, he had to put that asterisk there.
What?
Childlike sense of
wonder when you're looking at a superhero. I've had those moments multiple times throughout the years.
Surely he talked about the web slinging being very good in the Amazing Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield being the best Spider-Man. Surely that created a childlike sense of wonder in him.
I'm gonna look at this and then I'm gonna look at Spider-Man stopping the train and I'm gonna decide which deserves more wonder.
And it was for a character I never felt a strong connection to. I told you all earlier in this video that Superman was my brother's hero, while Spider-Man was mine. And to tell you the truth, I never really understood what he saw in him. I could only speculate.
I can only speculate. You didn't have a conversation with him. You know enough that he likes him, but don't know why he likes him. You can only speculate.
Muffs, I've argued with know why I like Superman. Strangers on the internet know why I like Superman.
This bastard knows why I like Rarity. Come on, Mark, have a conversation with your brother.
Oh gosh, he had a speech and it informed you of everything you needed to know about the character.
It's so good. It's so good. Yes, we could have told you everything you needed to know about the character. Those are the things that happen. I am not whining. I am complaining. It's one of the best lines I've ever heard. And that tells you, tell me that doesn't tell you everything. The fact that she makes a distinction between the two. She's like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm doing this.
She's not disagreeing that she is adamantly speaking negatively about the situation.
No, but she's just doing it in another way, a way that she feels is better. It tells you every single thing that you need to know about that character. I am not whining. I am complaining. legitimately had to pause the episode and rethink 14 episodes of every single moment of it. Oh, I get it now. Because she, in that moment, went from my least favorite to my second favorite. In a line. As I went, I get it now. I am not whining. I am complaining. And the indignity in which she says it is so good.
Now, you see, I don't know what he's talking about, but I knew the moment. I don't go into his room and go, "Hey, yo, DA, tell me a little bit about My Little Pony." No, it just naturally comes out in conversations.
As you're speaking to your brother.
He told me. However, in the closing moments of that fight, with everyone on the back
He did say what he told him. Speculation on what he told him. I don't know what he told him though.
But that's speculation based upon what you were told. Surely, if he's going, he's so hopeful. He's the light. He's the beacon. Whatever he tells you, you can't be like, I'm speculating on why he might like him or whatever.
I don't speculate on rarity. I don't speculate on that.
So good.
Fluttershy, I don't speculate on that.
I am complaining.
Flash waiting on standby and Cyborg in a very compromising position, I understood.
No, this is not why Superman is
Look
awesome.
at this Ingenuba versus Gogeta moment. You can't hurt me, I'm Army. I'm lost.
Not, dude. I have spent, I spent 3 hours looking for that clip.
I understand. I completely
I just have to know if it was as funny as I thought.
Lost to the sands of time. It
You not heard
not
me.
even have happened.
I'm Army.
But no, this is what he's looking for. This awesome DBZ punch don't move moment.
I don't.
Look at I finally get it. He's just standing there as the big guy was about to kill the robot.
When Superman showed up at the last second, with me having grown closer to all of these characters, for him to make that save at that moment like that, I lost my collective shit, and I knew I had to record my reaction to this live.
How does it live if you didn't know about it before? So, did you do the reaction and then start the recording?
Was he recording all of it? Could he be, like I said, could he have been recording himself doing the anime wins, or just recording himself and then taking those bits and pieces? And
could be.
I don't
believe.
I don't want to hear this.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I'm going to be recording my live reaction. I haven't seen this part of the movie. I've seen one hype moment that happens in like 3 seconds, but everything after that, I have no idea.
So he saw the 3 seconds. He basically did a revisit on it. He saw the 3 hype seconds and then he went, "Oh, I gotta record myself for the rest of this."
I thought like it'd be cool to record my reaction because what
I
happens...
love that sweater. I f***ing love that sweater.
I don't love it in connection to the Ukraine stuff, because that's the same one that he was wearing.
Really fucking blew me away. So, okay. Without further ado, here are my live, unfiltered reactions to the final 40 minutes of Zack Snyder's Justice League from 2021.
Now, is this genuine or is he now playing it up?
Yeah. Once you're on camera, there's a certain expectation, and you know it's hype moments. So it's going to be, because you are in front of a camera more.
Here we go.
Because you must justify your being recorded.
Yeah.
Not impressed. That was the moment. That was the moment I knew was coming. Oh, this is the hypest shit.
Nothing happened.
And dude, you do not understand my hatred of this moment right now. Because this is a guy that... So, the issue with so many people's perception of Superman is they don't see... If you're a fan, you see Superman as a human. If you are not a fan, you see Superman as a god. And this is the moment where you are justified and you're thinking of him as a god by going, look at how awesome he is.
They were struggling with this dude, and he just beat the axe and broke it.
Superman being strong and awesome.
I'm just looking for faces for emotes.
Oh, this is sick. Like, they're all kind of working together now. Like, it's just so fucking cathartic.
How is it cathartic if
Who
you
are
just...
these people? This isn't like Avengers with the beam and the shield working together. This is just, I'm a swing, then you a swing.
Flash has not had a conversation with Superman. This means nothing.
This is that option C. This is that option C I was talking about earlier, where he kind of provides that option.
It is not an option C. So are you saying that Superman is the option C? So the option A and B for those people were wait for somebody else to rescue or drown?
You don't even think is possible. Sit the fuck down! Does he heal faster too? I mean, that would make sense, like metabolism, but wouldn't that mean that he ages faster too? Oh shit. It's that guy from that flashback, like...
This is not a Thanos situation where people kind of don't know who Thanos was at the end of the Avengers. If you know DC, if you know Supes, and you know Batman, you should know in Darkseid.
But the thing about that is, if you don't know him, this is just that guy that got pieced up 2 hours earlier.
Don't forget
He got a 2-piece of a biscuit. Homeboy got done up. He got a combo. And then we're just supposed to be like, uh-oh, here he come? What, to get almost sliced in half again?
To go. Holy shit, okay. This is fucking huge. Like, the scope of this is crazy. Make your own future. Oh my fucking god, that is such a great line. Okay, yep, that'll work. There's a really nice kind of coming a full circle.
Mark, it's meaningless when you have to just go, okay, he said there's consequences, but there were no consequences. So he reversed time completely free.
Flashpoint.
We don't know that yet.
But we do know that.
With all of their characters, you know, Batman, you know, assuming the responsibility of humanity and, you know, wanting to do the best for it, you know, retrieving his own humanity, you know, Clark kind of like reconciling his emotions regarding his own sense of self and what his purpose is. Wonder Woman's always been perfect, apparently. Flash had his nice character arc in this with his dad and him kind of reconciling that he is going to be able to make his own future and make something of himself. Yeah. Cyborg was able to let go of the past and, you know, that resentment that he has, and he's able to accept himself for who he is. I can't get used to Willem Dafoe in this movie. He got the bank. I think something that this movie did really well was assign time proportionately and appropriately to each individual character without one feeling more slighted than the other. Like, they gave a lot of backstory to Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg in this movie that was much needed. Batman sort of took a driving role, which made him have utility in the movie because, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of powers, but he's got a lot of resources and he brought everything together. And Superman obviously is Superman, then at the end making like one of the best action sequences I've seen committed to a superhero film. So everything seemed...
go that far.
Not even top 30.
In a superhero film, I would top 30.
No.
I go with top 30. I'd struggle at a top 20.
Not top 30. Not at all.
Okay.
Like, it had its place and was really kind of part of everything. And obviously then Wonder Woman was Wonder Woman, and she is great in everything. She might actually be my favorite of all of these characters.
Based upon what? The myriad of analysis that you've given for her in this video and others.
What? What the fuck is happening?
He didn't even...
That was sick. That was a sick movie. Okay, credits.
Pause.
Okay, yeah,
I like how there wasn't the Martian Manhunter part, because it would just be, well, who dat? Who dare?
Who dare? I was just, dude. Who dat? Who dare? And you deem to tell me Waterboy is not a good movie?
I said potentially not a good movie.
I disagree.
It's gotta be dated. There's gotta be.
I do. 1,000,000,000% dated.
It's Adam Sandler, so there's gonna be moments of just like
it's the Sandlerisms.
who dare? Who dare?
And yet, just the memory of it is killing you.
It's funny. Mom's gonna be like, wait a second, Waterboy? Why? Spoilers for Waterboy?
Yeah, oh, dude. That's big bad.
Oh, they went off the rails with this one.
Had that amazing ending and that really weird dystopian ending that I don't know how to make sense of quite yet. This reads like they want to do another one, but I don't know if they ever will. If they do, let me know. Overall, I loved this movie.
Unbelievable.
It was a film unlike any I think I've ever seen, and for that reason alone, I'm excited by the fact that it even exists.
It's not like things I've seen before, and so it is one of the best I've ever seen. Again, if a movie was 130 minutes of someone in a corner, you've never seen nothing like that. Is that good? Is that a positive?
A hamburger deep fried in brownie batter is something that I've never tasted before.
Oh, you know somewhere around the world there's some
Of course.
bullshit like that.
Let me look up brownie burger.
That's probably going to be like a brownie with like a cookie in the middle or something. That's disgusting. And then you put like mayo on it. That's disgusting.
Yeah, maybe this was a mistake. That's just a macaroon. Yeah. Ew.
The more variety in superhero films we have, the more opportunities we have for terrific stories to be told in a wider array.
But you must realize that there's a wider opportunity for them to be as well.
This is not a terrific story told, though, Mark. You got bored by at least a fourth of it. You thought 45 minutes could be cut out of it. But my God, the action and times the characters talk to each other.
It must be lauded that he was able to fulfill his dream or whatever.
This was clearly a film with a dedicated vision orchestrating its creation and fueled by the passion of millions around the world, young and old. And today, I honestly think I felt a connection to these characters in a way I never thought I ever would. My final score for this is an outstanding 8 out of 10. Slow start, but what an
Outstanding!
incredible
It's the
finish.
same one that you gave to Joker.
Hey guys, what's going on? Totally Not Mark here. I am definitely not making this video like this because I forgot to make a G Fuel commercial. I'm making this because it's perfect. Really high production too, like all the other G Fuel commercials. Please, guys, if you guys want to support my channel or show appreciation to G Fuel for sponsoring this video, please check the link in the description and pick up some G Fuel for yourself. I actually use it every day for whenever I do my workout. I'm doing long distance running now, preparing for a marathon. So if you guys want something that you think is tasty and caffeine free, or if you want the sugar variety, then by all means, pick it up in the description down below using the coupon code that I have down there. Please. Anything else? Do I have anything else? Enjoy the video.
I would not be happy. This was supposed to go at the beginning. I would not be happy if I was G Fuel.
I would also not be happy if I was G Fuel. But this
What a face.
Let me get this timestamp real quick because
Unbelievable.
that's definitely an Evo. That's definitely an Evo. Let me just grab that timestamp from you real quick, pimpin'.
Unbelievable.
Ain't gonna be too long.
What a monster. It's 38:55. What a monster.
But maybe this is his fourth or fifth video, and they've seen results, and they're just like, we
so
can
they
give
don't
him
care.
this. choking on G Fuel.
Okay, so you might be wondering at this point where my review for Robert Pattinson's film The Batman is, right? Well, I saw it last night and I am in the middle of making it. And truth be told, I really wanted to finish it in time for
No, you know what's funny? I just finished rewatching that movie because we had talked about, did he use a voice modulator or anything? And I kind of just wanted to know. And instead of just finding a clip, I'll just rewatch the movie. It's a good movie. As much as I love that Batman theme, they cannot stop playing that shit. And it's just like, all right, there's other soundtrack songs on there.
But the length of this, once again, got out of control. But fret not, you won't have to wait.
It feels like you're going to cut 45 minutes out of it, Mark.
Well, wait a second.
You don't create the video,
I'm about
Mark.
to say that's negative time.
Good.
What is he doing? Donate this time to charity with those other 5 minutes?
As I will be releasing that review tomorrow. And spoiler alert, it's my new favorite Batman film and might be up there as one of my favorite film experiences of all time.
It never stops. Everything's of all time. Everything's my favorite.
Got no breaks.
And might be. And
for that and more, please subscribe to stay in the loop. I'll see you all tomorrow with the last Batman review.
I wish that was like an M or something, or an outline of his logo.
Nah, it's too expensive.
It's really not, because I feel like the snow is, or this dust is like superimposed on it, like a particle effect.
Well, how would you know?
I guess I don't.
All right then.
No, we talked about it would need an extraordinary thing.
I was thinking the same thing.
Again, I'm not a man that does -11, but my love of Superman in the world and Mark's just abject refusal to engage with the universe.
It's crazy.
Pissed me off.
It's nuts.
I'm gonna Hall of Fame it, but I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to do that revisited bullshit.
Every time that I re-listen to a revisited episode, I write down my thoughts to see if I agree or disagree with my thoughts previous. So I'm making my way through all the episodes slowly but surely. I just want to watch it and be able to re-rate it.
Yes. And
if need be.
And I think we need to, because there are way too many Hall of Fames for me. I'm going to have to move some of it down. Because Mark does not deserve to be in the same category as some of the other ones.
He's special.
This is special stuff. We're going to have to redo that creator tier list once we start getting more and new creators. I feel like by the end of the year, we're going to have both of them out. Yeah. Don't know what we're doing Saturday. And this isn't one of our usual, we don't know what we're doing Saturday. We literally do not know because you guys are picking. Go to the community tab, thumb up any video you think you would want us to see on Saturday, or submit your own if it's not already nominated. We're going to do it until like Friday night. And then I'm going to grab the videos and grab the thumbnails and put them up. Mark sucks.
We will be done.
Mark's a dude.
I'm spoiler alert. And next week I'm probably just gonna go ahead and take that off.
Hey, that's fair. And you know what? We can start doing some of our April Fool stuff on that.
Because man, this is soul crushing.
I can't believe how poor that was. I cannot believe. Yep. We are out of here. We will.
I can't be blamed for this.
For people that don't know, I kept pointing to DA because he was mad the last time I wee-wooed over his wee-woo. So I'm like, I'm pointing to you to wee-woo it.
You blacked out for like 5 seconds.
Hey. Understandable.
All right, you know it's my bedtime. I wasn't thinking.
But when you see me pointing, what do you think?
You do weird stuff like that.
Absolutely.
You just start dancing. So what am I'm like, the month got a tune in his heart. What am I supposed to do? I'm like, all right, I gotta pee and then I'm going to bed. I was done. And you just like,
And you're
I'm
looking
like,
at the runtime. You're like, why hasn't he?
Yeah, I'm like, what did he?
I'm like, I'm waiting for a sign off
Our patent sign off.
that we've been doing for some 15 weeks.
Again, you blacked out.
Yes,
All right.
Mark has drained us. He is like a vampire. Our essence is gone, and we're husk walking through life until we can replenish our essence.
Somehow. Don't look at me like that.
I'm just.
You look too smug. And these bastards in the Discord ain't helping.
Boy, they cooked you.
I don't know what happened.
Somebody said catch up, and it was, oh boy, it has only gotten longer.
Man, what?
Oh boy.
We will press the button, all right? Hey, it's your fault.